You're watching college football on ESPN, presented by PlayStation View from Norman, Oklahoma. The fourth-ranked Sooners with everything in front of them. Playoff hopes, potential Heisman Trophy, and West Virginia. Baker Mayfield will not start, although it didn't keep him from hyping up the crowd and keeping himself excited and focused, and he will be the storyline certainly early on here this afternoon. Got the word last week that Baker Mayfield will not start the game. No one seems to know when he will start except for Lincoln Riley. Steve Levy along with Brian Greasy. Todd McShay is at field level on a spectacular Saturday afternoon here in Oklahoma. Marcelius Sutton and Rodney Anderson are back to receive, and Evan Staley will kick it away for West Virginia. Mountaineers come off a 28-14 loss to Texas. A week ago, Oklahoma took care of Kansas to the tune of 41-3. And it's run out by Marcelius Sutton, and he's out to the 31-yard line. And it was in that game in Kansas when we had all the trouble. There's Kansas failing to shake Mayfield's hand, and then inappropriate gesture and so on. Did Oklahoma get this right? They do enough?
I think Lincoln Riley got it right. You had to do something. Baker Mayfield knew something was coming, and I think Lincoln Riley suspending him, for the first series, maybe 2 series, don't know what it's going to be, but the captaincy, that's one of the biggest honors you can have as a college football player, is being a captain, and at home in your last time in this stadium for Baker Mayfield. That's what hurt him the most, and that he took the attention away from his teammates in the win last week. Those were the things, I think, a great way for Lincoln Riley to send a message to his quarterback.
So as Mayfield watches, Kyler Murray is the starting quarterback today for the Sooners. And on first down, Murray's going to keep it, and he can run! He can run across midfield! He can run down the sideline! Kyler Murray to be knocked out of bounds at the 4 by Elijah Battle. How's that for the first snap and his first start? 66 yards.
Boy, no Baker, no problem. Kyler Murray's a talented individual, one of the most highly recruited athletes coming out of high school in college football. Went to Texas A&M, didn't work out for him there. He's made the decision to come here to Oklahoma, and his first snap in Baker Mayfield's shadow, he almost takes it to the house.
Might keep Mayfield on the bench a little longer. Here's first and goal now. On the ground, Rodney Anderson, and he's on his feet into the end zone for a touchdown. How do you like me now? 49 seconds in, Oklahoma scores the touchdown.
A huge smile from Baker Mayfield as he gives Kyler Murray a hug there, but Lincoln Riley, think about him. He had to make this decision. This is a Heisman front runner at home his last game, and he sat him down for disciplinary reasons, and Kyler Murray goes out there in 2 plays. They're in the end zone.
Austin Seibert on for the extra point. What a story. Kyler Murray, a couple of years ago, he got 3 starts at A&M, but what a start here today.
The thing that he brings that Baker Mayfield doesn't quite have is the speed element. We were talking with Lincoln Riley yesterday. He says if he gets in the second level, nobody's going to catch him. Almost didn't catch him here, but that's the element in the run game, the zone read, the option game. That's what he brings, and Baker Mayfield, you know what's going through him, his mind on the sideline, and how much this is hurting him, and that just takes kind of all that anxiety away. And Rodney Anderson finishes the drive.
Because what you don't want to be the story after the game is the fact that Mayfield didn't start the game. You want this to be put away with and done, and I think that's what Lincoln was hoping for. And wow, what a start. And then, if it is first series, Grease, you expected it to be more than 2 snaps.
Yeah, I think that's what they might be talking about right there, right? Lincoln might be saying, hey, man, I told you 1 series, but that was only 2 plays, man. We might have to go another series here. But the message has been sent.
Yes.
Right? This week,
yes.
Baker Mayfield having to deal with this week with the media, the captaincy issue. He was humbled, right? He was down in the dumps on Sunday. And on Monday when he met with Lincoln Riley, Lincoln said, listen, man, I'm not asking you to change, but I want you to find a better you and have some class. Don't lose your edge. Learn to manage it. And I think that's hopefully what we'll see from Baker when he gets in this game.
So if you're just joining us now, it's 7-0 Oklahoma. And it'll be a touchback to bring it out to the 25. We say hi to our guy, Todd McShay.
Just watching Baker before, I wanted to see if there's any difference, and there wasn't any. He was the same exact guy that he always is. The most energetic quarterback I've ever seen in a pregame, running from drill to drill. The first one always there, getting all of his players all fired up. And I talked to one coach, he said, listen, only the two quarterbacks and the head coach know exactly when he's going to play, but I'm guessing it's in the first 3 series. Talked to Baker as he was jogging off. I said, we good, man? He said, I'm great. Let's go.
I wouldn't expect any other answer from Baker Mayfield. So what a start to this one. First down and 10 for the 25. Chris Chugunov is the quarterback for the Mountaineers. We have backup quarterbacks on both sides, and a big run for Justin Crawford. Eventually taken down by Will Johnson. Chris Chugunov is making his first career start. What a place to start in place of the injured Will Greer.
Yeah, and Will Greer went out with that fractured, dislocated finger last week against Texas. And Chris Chugunov, talk about difficult situations. Coming in for Will Greer, who's been outstanding this season, but on the road in a hostile environment against an Oklahoma team ranked 4th in the country.
Gain of 16 on first down out of the Wildcat. Here's Kennedy McCoy carrying the football as they line up Chugunov out towards the sideline.
This Chugunov, he's a tough character. He took some shots last week. Texas is an outstanding defense, and they came after him. Todd Orlando took some shots on him, and he got up after hits like this. That's a targeting call of Breckenhager thrown out of the game, but he stood in there, fired some shots down the field. The thing that he has, Steve, he's got some receivers, 3 of them, outstanding wide receivers, all 3, Jennings, Sills, and White, over 900 yards. That's why Will Greer, who you saw there, has had such an outstanding year.
Chugunov will hand it off to Justin Crawford. He's got the first down and then some. And they are well into Sooners territory now. Gain of 10 on that play for Justin Crawford, who came in 37 yards shy of 1,000 rushing for the season.
Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator for West Virginia, and Dana Holgorsen, they met this week, and they tried to come up with a game plan that would make Chris Chugunov feel comfortable. And there's Spav. He knows that you got to run the football. Justin Crawford has got to be featured at least 20 to 25 times in this game for them to have any chance on the road.
Again, a Wildcat to Kennedy McCoy, and he will carry the football down to the 35. Emmanuel Beal made the stop for Oklahoma. So in a handful of snaps, his first start at quarterback, they've got Chugunov every other down, lining up as a wide receiver.
The other thing they're going to do, Steve, they're going to slow this tempo down. You see, West Virginia normally goes hyper fast, right? Dana Holgorsen, as many snaps as we can get. But you see them right now kind of in a muddle huddle. They gave up a big touchdown drive to start. They want to try to milk this clock a little bit on the road, take possessions away from Oklahoma.
Chugunov will take this snap and hand it off to Kennedy McCoy. And they'll bring up a 3rd down and short. Beal makes the stop. Chugunov, for those of you scoring at home, when he came in as a backup, replacing the injured Will Greer a week ago, he was number 11. Gets the start, switched his uniform number. He's wearing number 5 today. That was his number in high school. So all your fans in West Virginia want to go out and buy a Chugunov jersey, make sure you get the number 5. There he is. They split him out again now. Again, it's Kennedy McCoy. They continue to run out of this Wildcat, and why not? McCoy's got the first down, and they are in field goal range. Trey Norwood makes the stop.
If you want to follow this West Virginia offense and where they have success, follow number 28, Wellman, right here. Most of the time when they run the football, it's going to go to number 28. The 5th-year senior out of Huntington, excellent blocker, catches the ball well out of the backfield as well. I've never seen this from West Virginia, Steve, an actual huddle.
You were expecting that. Eli Wellman goes by the nickname of Big Stink. I didn't bother to ask why. Here's Marcus Sims trying to get the ball into the wide receiver's hands. Gonna bring up a third down. Kenneth Murray and Caleb Cayley. Prior to that play, West Virginia had 50 yards in 6 plays, all on runs.
Well, this Oklahoma defense, they've taken the first shot from West Virginia. They've given up some yards on this drive. They've had some wildcat. They have some misdirection. You got to always take that first blow from an offense. But Oklahoma defensively last week, that's the reason they won the football game against Kansas. Only gave up 3 points. Back-to-back weeks, they've played strong. They held TCU to 20 points. This Oklahoma defense is getting stronger as the year goes on.
2nd and 11. Those 3 wide receivers bottom of your screen. And they wanted to keep it on the ground at Crawford, but there is a timeout.
West Virginia calls their first timeout of the half. It'll be a media break.
We'll take the timeout with them. We have yet to see Baker Mayfield in the game. Will it be the second series? Oklahoma 7-0 lead. West Virginia on the move. Baker Mayfield might not be a captain today for Oklahoma, might not have participated in the coin toss out of the 50-yard line, but his jersey did. Orlando Brown out there with Dimitri Flowers. That gives you some idea of how beloved Baker is by his teammates. Here's Chugginoff, his first pass attempt of the game, back of the end zone and out of the end zone. Gary Jennings was there. Jennings has not been able to find the end zone all season except for one time. And while that was a completion out of the end zone easily, clearly. Yeah, great coverage there by Stephen Parker. Great job by Parnell Motley and Parker talking, switching off that route on the outside. Hard play action on 2nd down, and Oklahoma defensively was not fooled. Sooners secondary has been a bit of an issue. Got a couple of true freshmen out there. We'll watch for that all afternoon. 3rd down and 11. Trey Brown and Trey Norwood, both of them true freshmen. We'll see a bunch of them. On 3rd and 11, they keep it on the ground, and Justin Crawford, he's still on his feet, and he has the first down. Great second effort by Justin Crawford. Moves to 6. Great block here by Lingenfelter. Take a look at this offensive line. Getting up to the 2nd level on the Mike linebacker, Ken Murray. He just kind of plants him in the ground. And Crawford is just pushing that defensive line. That was Neville Gallimore who had his back to him, and he was just pushing him downfield. Lingenfelter on the block there. He's in for the Kyle Bosch injury. The starting right guard out with the lower leg. 1st down and 10 now. About the 15. Little shovel to Wellman. Bring him 2nd down. If West Virginia is going to pull off this upset on the road, it's a tall task, but it has to start with their offensive line up front because they need to control the game, control the amount of possessions Oklahoma's great offense has, and then run the football with Crawford, Kennedy McCoy, and Pettaway. And Dana Holgorsen knows that he's got a quarterback that hasn't making his first start. This offensive line has to take the game on their back. This is a beautiful looking drive to this point. Here's Chugginoff. Trying to set up the screen, able to get it to Wellman. And he's stopped by Amani Bledsoe. Back to the line of scrimmage, 3rd down. Great recognition by Bledsoe. We see this so much in college football these days. This roll to one side and then throwback screen, whether it's to a tight end. In this case, it's to a fullback and Elijah Wellman. But Amani Bledsoe, smart football player, just a true sophomore, diagnosed it and came up with the tackle. Coaching staff keeps raving about Bledsoe. He's coming on. 12th play of the drive upcoming. They've been able to convert on 2 third downs so far. Here's 3rd and 8 with Jennings in motion. And they keep it on the ground at Crawford, and he won't get there. He won't get down to the 10. Kenneth Murray made the stop. Giving the ball to Crawford is a good idea all the time. He had 331 yards rushing against this Oklahoma defense a year ago. Yeah, they got down big early in that game, and a lot of those yards were in garbage time, so it's going to be much tougher sledding, I think, in this game. 4th and 6 upcoming, so we'll get the field goal attempt. It's Evan Staley, who is just 3 for 4 on the season. It's a 28-yard field goal attempt. And so the Mountaineers able to counter that 49-yard touchdown drive by Oklahoma with a 7-minute drive of their own. That winds up in a field goal. Is it Baker Mayfield time? We'll find out.
ESPN College Football is presented by PlayStation Vue. Watch the biggest moments in sports. Try it free today. And in part by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
7-3 Oklahoma as we await the Sooners' second possession. And by all indications, we expect to see Baker Mayfield back in the game for the first time today.
And he'll get quite the reception from this crowd. No matter what he does, they love Baker Mayfield, one of the most beloved players in Oklahoma history. I think he'll go down.
What's not to love, right? Sutton will take a knee. And now it's the Baker Mayfield show. And I'm Kyler Murray. I'm saying, hey, what about me, coach? I thought I did pretty well in there. Did you want a faster scoring drive in 49 seconds? And on first down, handoff. Rodney Anderson right up the middle, making some cuts. Anderson is knocked down just shy of the 15 by Mike Daniels. Very similar to the opening drive for the Sooners.
Take a look at this move that Rodney Anderson puts on the secondary. That right there, not known for his quick feet, more of a big downhill running back, but he was passed up earlier in the year. Trey Sermon, Abdul Adams both took reps away from Rodney Anderson and got a little help from his quarterback. I think he's not excited to be back on the field.
58-yard run by Rodney Anderson. Kyler Murray, the quarterback who started, ran for 66 on the first offensive snap. And on the first throw of the game by Baker Mayfield, he completes to CeeDee Lamb.
This offense so explosive. I mean, you run the ball between the tackles, back-to-back drives, one time with Kyler Murray, now with Rodney Anderson. Then you flip the ball out to a guy like CeeDee Lamb, Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, Dimitri Flowers. So many weapons, Steve. This is the most difficult offense to defend in college football this year.
On first down and goal from the 6. Baker will hand it off. Rodney Anderson will be dropped for a loss. Excellent defensive play by the Mountaineers' best defensive player, David Long.
Yeah, David Long needs to have a big game. He's unquestioned leader of this Mountaineer defense, and now that no Will Greer on the team, unquestioned leader of the team. He's got to have a big game along with Al-Rashid Benton, the Mike linebacker, number 3. Those two guys have to have an effect on Mayfield and Anderson in the run game.
Crowd was chanting Baker's name. They want a touchdown pass. Here's second and goal. Here's the opportunity to throw. It is juggled and caught. CeeDee Lamb, touchdown. While Baker Mayfield's consecutive start streak came to an end at 37, he has now thrown a touchdown pass in 38 consecutive games. Here's Seibert on for the extra point. On the way, and it's perfect. Quick strike, Oklahoma offense on display. 14-3 Sooners.
Talk about the pressure this Oklahoma offense puts on defenses. When you're able to run the ball with Anderson in the middle of the field, it puts pressure in the secondary. And that time, it was Drayvon Henry. Here's Drayvon right here, and it's Long right here. They have to respect this action. And when that action goes and they come up, there's nobody left behind it. That's too big of a window right there for Baker Mayfield to throw that football into. You can't be right when this offense is really humming.
Minute 47, 75 yards, some 4 plays. Baker Mayfield is back in business.
I know there's been a lot of emotion for Baker this week. And certainly something, as we said, something had to be done. I think this can ultimately, Steve, though, be a positive for him. He came out here. The team is going well. They score on the first drive. He comes out. They get a touchdown. They're up 14-3, and the crowd has embraced him. He knew that was going to happen, right? But we make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes when you're 21, 22 years old like he is. And how nice is it for him to make a mistake, have a good conversation with Lincoln Riley, know that he has to change his behavior, come out here and perform the way that they have in the first 2 drives, and then put that behind him and move forward and change behavior. Couldn't have gone better for Baker.
Riley said he really had to think long and hard about the kind of discipline. Here's Marcus Sims from the goal line. Sims trying to spin away from some people. Get out to the 26. Say hi to Adnan Burton.
All right, Steve Levy, thank you very much. Dr. Pepper Championship Drive update. It is the Iron Bowl, and Auburn not wasting any time. Direct step carry on Johnson to Nate Craig Myers. So now inside the 5, up 7-0. Steve, back to you.
But you're right, Steve. I think people forget that Lincoln Riley's a first-year head coach, right, of the number 4 team in the country, and he's got the Heisman favorite by a long shot who does something, makes a mistake, and he had the guts to make the right call. And I've been as impressed with Lincoln Riley as any coach in college football this year.
First down and 23 after the marker. Here's Justin Crawford out across the 20-yard line. Will Johnson and Caleb Kelly in stop.
Go back and take a look at that penalty and see if Dana Holgorsen had a point. If you see that black line, that's a line of scrimmage. As long as that ball is thrown behind the black line, it's not a penalty, but it was clearly thrown beyond that black line. So a good call by this officiator.
2nd and 15, get some of the penalty yardage back. Throwing and completing to Sills for the short gain. Sills, who leads the country in touchdown catches with 18.
I think for them to get some offense and some rhythm going, and Chris Chuganoff getting his rhythm going, they're going to have to throw the ball on first down. It's the best situation to throw the ball to these receivers outside rather than getting in these kind of situations. 3rd and 11, it's almost impossible to throw the ball with any kind of success, not to mention you get Obo Okoronkwo coming off the edge.
That is the advantage West Virginia might have. Their receivers against the Oklahoma secondary. 3 of them at the bottom of your screen. Here's 3rd and 11. Chuganoff down the middle of the field, and it's caught by Sills, and he stays on his feet. David Sills, and then coughs up the football, able to recover, and a flag comes in late. So an awful lot happening there on that one play after the reception was made.
Great adjustment by David Sills. There's going to be some throws in this game where Chris Chugginoff just trusts him, and he's got to come back and make a play. That ball, maybe a 50-50 ball, and Sills goes up and uses that 6'4" frame to come down with the football. One of the reasons why.
There is no foul for a block in the back. It'll be first down.
One of the reasons why David Sills is one of the 3 finalists, semifinals for the Biletnikoff Award. Take a look. When you throw this football, when Chugginoff throws the football, take a look at where the defense is. Here they are right here. There's not a whole lot of room there. He's trusting Sills to come back and make that adjustment, and he does. It makes a play for his quarterback and sets him up in business inside the 25.
It's a 51-yard gain on the pass play. And I would think that would give your quarterback plenty of confidence.
Absolutely.
3rd and 11, no problem. On 1st down and 10. Flags fly as they hand it off to Crawford. Leans forward for a yard. Marquez Overton at the nose tackle spot.
Offside. Defense number 31 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That's Okoronkwo trying to get a little extra advantage as if he needs it. The senior from Houston, Texas. Outstanding defensive player on that Sooner defensive line.
Typically, when you see that happen from a defensive end or outside linebacker, it's on 3rd down trying to get an edge. But on 1st down, no reason for Obo to be offside.
1st and 5. I would take a shot. Here's Chugginoff. Thinking along the same lines, back of the end zone. It's Sills. Did he get the no? He caught the ball, but they're going to say he was out of bounds. Stephen Parker had the coverage.
Wow. This is the traditional fake bubble and have a receiver go downfield to the corner of the end zone. Chugginoff, a great throw, gives Sills an opportunity chance. His feet definitely come down inbounds. He has the ball, but so this is that catch, no catch conversation. You have to control the ball all the way through the ground. That ground causes the ball to come out. It's an incomplete pass, and by definition, it was a good call.
Not even going to look at it. 2nd and 5. Going up is Jennings, and he's able to hang on, and he has the 1st down. Will Johnson put the pop on him. That was 12-on-12 violence right there.
Barry Jennings, 93rd catch of the season. He's closing in on 100 catches for the year, already over 1,000 yards. He's one of the more sure-handed wide receivers in college football.
Again, only all those yards, Grease, all those catches, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, well, when they get down in here, though, it's David Sills' territory. He's got 18 of them, and I don't blame him.
Crawford trying to find a hole and finds a few yards. Come up on 1:40 left in the quarter.
We're watching that matchup of Sills versus these smaller corners. With Motley, it's 6 foot, 175. With Norwood, it's 5'11", 168 versus a receiver who's 6'4", 205 pounds. I've seen them now try to move their safety over Stephen Parker, a little bit more attention to him in case they have to have a bigger guy. He's 6'1", 205. We'll see how they match up here. He just came off the field.
2nd and 9. That ball is out. Crawford fumbled the football, and I think Oklahoma has it. Okoronkwo was the first into the pile. Bobo came out with it. And he's got the football.
These self-inflicted wounds for West Virginia, they just can't have it when you come on the road in this environment. And it looked like Justin Crawford just took his eyes off the ball. It's a simple pitch. Chugginoff, it's a great pitch, goes right through his hands. Looking at the defense before the football.
Mountaineers were marching down the field. Nothing to show for it. Baker Mayfield, the Sooners offense when we come back. As if there were any doubt, that was a fumble. It is Sooners football. We'll see an Oklahoma offense that will be ready to run their 7th play of the game. 6 plays so far, 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quick strike offense as the fumble stands. They did take a look at it in the break. And it remains Oklahoma football. They'll start deep in their own territory out at the 11-yard line. Vedette in motion. And it's Rodney Anderson trying to break through. And he was just tipped up at the line of scrimmage.
There's been a better marriage in college football in the last 3 years, coach and quarterback, than Lincoln Riley and Baker Mayfield. I think these two are perfectly suited for each other, both from a on-the-field standpoint as well as a temperament standpoint. Lincoln Riley very laid back. I think Baker Mayfield and he have a great relationship, and you can tell they love working with each other.
There's Mayfield to throw down the middle of the field. Got a man wide open. Marquise Brown. Again, the quick strike offense. Now, that was my quarterback. He'd be my best friend, too. We'd get along great.
And the quarterback's best friend is speed on the outside, and that's the definition of Marquise Brown. You can see, if you don't get a jam on him, if you allow him a free release into the secondary, there's not a whole lot of DBs in college football that can run with him. And that's an element, Steve, of this Oklahoma offense that was going to be missing potentially this year without a D.D. Westbrook, and Brown has filled that role.
Brown averaging 19 yards per catch. That was good for 56. Here's Anderson inside the 20-yard line. And that will be the end of the first quarter. Quick strike offense for Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield did not start the game. Came in for their 2nd series. Sooners already have 217 yards of offense. You're watching college football on ESPN, presented by PlayStation Vue. Jiffy Lube Rivalry Week continues to be a dandy tonight. It's Clemson and South Carolina. Enough said. So stream it live on the ESPN app. 109th straight season for the matchup. 2nd longest uninterrupted series. Minnesota-Wisconsin is the longest. Again, the ESPN app is a fan's best friend. Go live your life. Do what you have to do. Keep eating those Thanksgiving leftovers. All while watching the app. Yeah. Is that it?
Well, that's when I'm going to get home. So that's
right. Handoff. Rodney Anderson. We open up quarter number 2. Tries to cut it inside, and he has enough for the first down. Steve Levy along with Brian Greasy, Todd McShay. Hope everybody had a great holiday. And keep in mind, the camera adds 15 pounds after Thanksgiving. That's why you won't see us on camera and all that often.
You had a big plate of food, and this Oklahoma offense, they got a big plate of plays. Hey, look at these rankings. I mean, yards per play, 20-plus yards. Those are the explosive plays. This is the most explosive offense in college football, and they've already started this first half the same way.
They're averaging over 24 yards per offensive snap today. And we're 40 seconds into the 2nd quarter. Leading 14-3 and looking for more. On 3rd down and 1. Hand it off. Anderson, I don't think he got there. Rodney Anderson was stopped. Critical defensive play by West Virginia. Al-Rashid Benton, the male in the middle, makes the stop.
We talked about Benton. We talked about Long having to affect this run game. Also, Dylan Tonkery, he's going to come off the edge. You see number 3 coming off and 10. Great job of short yardage defense by West Virginia. And Lincoln Riley, no hesitation. He's going to go for it.
We got Dimitri Flowers in there, the fullback, and a tight end as well. Send Smallwood in motion. Hand it off. And it is Flowers. Has the first down yardage. Benton got him, but not soon enough.
Dimitri Flowers is the Swiss Army knife of this offense for Oklahoma. We can talk about all the flashy Marquise Brown and Andrews and all that, but the guy that makes it go when crunch time comes is Dimitri Flowers. He's one-on-one with Benton, and he takes the first down, gets the best of Benton. He's still on the field.
Benton is being attended to. One of the critical defenders for West Virginia.
Flowers goes 6'2", 247 pounds. I mean, you try to tackle him in the hole, and it looks like Al Benton kind of got shaken up with his shoulder there, but Flowers he's going to be an excellent player at the next level. I'm interested, Todd, in your thoughts on Flowers as a tight end fullback kind of at the next level.
Saw Rick Spielman down here, the GM of the Vikings, and he was looking at him and talking to some of the coaches about him, just the versatility that he brings. It was funny, before that play, Mayfield looked over and said, hey, I quarterback sneak, I got it. Riley's like, why don't we give it to the 247-pounder?
Well, not only that in short yardage, but now once Oklahoma gets inside the 10-yard line, Flowers becomes a real option. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns and 4 receiving touchdowns. They love to feature him in the red zone.
One of only 3 players in the FBS to have that kind of mix with the 4+ rushing touchdowns, 4+ receiving touchdowns. And here's Anderson for the corner. Got it. Touchdown. Oklahoma making it look easy. Their 3rd score of the afternoon.
This is the #1 play for Oklahoma. It's the counter play. Watch Bobby Evans come through the line of scrimmage and gets the block here. They pull both the guard and the tackle. He just gets enough of David Long, and when you give Rodney Anderson that amount of room at 218 pounds, he's going to find the end zone. But if you're going to stop that counter play, you've got to get penetration into the backfield, and West Virginia's defensive line has not been able to do it so far in this game.
You love Bobby Evans. Orlando Brown gets all that love, but Evans is a star on that offensive line as well. This offense stars everywhere you look. Oklahoma, every time they get the football, they score a touchdown. All-State is proud to be part of the team that comes together to do well by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, All-State has contributed millions in scholarship funds, and for that we thank them. What's going on here?
Does he have a seatbelt or something, I hope? I mean, he might need All-State.
Oh, these wacky college kids. On senior day, Oklahoma honoring 18 seniors playing their final home game. Petaway and Sims are back deep. Touchback, and we get back in touch with that name. Burke.
Oh, well done, Steve Levy. An update once again on the Iron Bowl. After converting a 4th and 1, Jalen Hurts says, why not? We ran it 5 straight times, this time to Jerry Jeudy, the true freshman. Maybe a little bit of a push-off. 36-yard touchdown. It's 7-all right now. And Jesse Palmer, by the way, appreciate the guy on the wagon. Meantime, speaking of rolling Penn State over Maryland, Mike Gesicki here with a touchdown. 28-0, Penn State. Back to you, Steve.
And thank you, keeping us posted on this rivalry Saturday here in college football. Out of the Wildcat again, it's Kennedy McCoy. This was effective in the first series, and why not go to it again? It's McCoy across midfield, dropped to the 38 by Trey Norwood. Kennedy McCoy for 36, the sophomore.
Lingenfelter, great block. It's just a quarterback power, but instead of using a quarterback, you use a running back, and you gain one. Overplayed there by the safety, and a big gain.
Chugging off the quarterback's bottom of your screen. They're going to flip it to him. Here's Chugging to throw it. Marcus Sims down. He's got it. It looks like he's hurt, but he's got the football down at the 3-yard line. What a play by West Virginia.
And nice design from Jake Spavital. You come right back to that Wildcat look. Here comes Chugginoff this way, and watch how wide open on the back end. If this ball was thrown out in front of Sims, that would have been a touchdown. And he comes up, as you said, Steve, a little gingerly, and see Mike Stoops, the defensive coordinator. You got to know coming in that Jake Spavital and Dana Holgerson down 21-3. They're going to have a few trick plays in the back of their pocket to try to get back in this game.
That last flea flicker good for 35. First down and goal. Ball spotted at the 4. It's McCoy again out of the Wildcat. Chugging out bottom of your screen. And it's McCoy. Crashes down to the 1-yard line. Will Johnson prevented that from being a West Virginia touchdown. Third trip into the red zone by the Mountaineers. All they have is a field goal to show for it for now.
It's getting chippy in there between this offensive line for West Virginia and that defensive line. Looked like Grant Lingenfelter was mixing it up inside. B.J. Ward, Overton, Famatu. Keep an eye on that as this game goes on. And again, the Wildcat, and I agree with you. It's working. Why not stick with it?
And they do. It's McCoy. Maybe gets half a yard. Stephen Parker came up to make the stop along with Caleb Kelly.
That time it looked like McCoy, if he would have handed that football off, he may have had something. And Reggie Roberson has been playing at that kind of H-back position. I think you got to go back. I'd stick with it. I'd stick with the Wildcat here. It's been working for you.
Looks like Chugunov is going to take this snap, though, on 3rd and goal. He's under center, and he hands it off to Crawford. They're going to say he didn't get there. And some pushing and shoving after the play. But Crawford is stopped at the 6-inch line. Okoronkwo made the stop. Ovo Okoronkwo has been everywhere so far for that Oklahoma defense. But it's going to bring up a 4th and goal. So the nose of the ball is on the goal line.
Yeah, they're going to take another look at this. Crawford, let's take a look to see if his knee came down. Looked like he definitely got across. I think that's a touchdown. That ball came down on top of the white line. You can't see from that angle.
You are shielded from seeing the football. And again, the call on the field is not a touchdown.
He's fighting for the yard. Now take a look at the knee. The knee does not go down. So that's the first thing. I don't think his knee ever hit the ground. Now it's just whether that ball, knee's not down, and where is the football when he ultimately comes down? Does he cross? Again, it's just a front plane there. Unfortunately for Justin Crawford, the angle there, you can't really tell. And I don't think there's enough evidence to overturn the call in the field. I think it'll probably stand.
Progressive pylon cam giving us a good look there, but maybe not a good enough look as far as West Virginia is concerned to overturn that call on the field.
You just can't see where the football is. Again, I don't think the knee was down at this point. Just whether they determine when he finally came down, whether it broke the front plane of the goal line. And if not, it'll bring up a 4th down, and I guarantee you Dana Holgerson's going for it.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called, short of the goal line.
Stands as called is critical verbiage there. So here we go, 4th and goal. That might be less than 6 inches.
Keep an eye on Elijah Wellman here too. You know, he's sometimes in these areas of the field a factor for West Virginia.
Mountaineers chance to stay in the game right here. 10.5 to play in the half. And it's Kennedy McCoy for the touchdown. The gamble pays off.
Jake Spavital brought in the extra beef. They brought in Trevin Wesco, both tight end / fullbacks, Wellman and Wesco. And they ran right behind him, and they got in. Here they are right here, 88 and 28. It's just power football. West Virginia needed that one.
And that Wildcat has been so effective getting them to that position. Again, West Virginia 3 possessions, Grease. They've made it to the Sooner 11, the Sooner 12, and down to the 1 for the touchdown there. As we await this extra point. David Staley is 12 for 12 on extra points since replacing Mike Molina. Puts it through. Mountaineers stay in the ball game. But really big plays everywhere you look, up and down the field. Both teams. This is Baker Mayfield when we come back.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, and Pizza Hut, the best pizza delivery deal. Order today with a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99.
To honor their Heisman Trophy winners, Oklahoma has statues of the players' likeness right outside the stadium. The bronze statues stand more than 12 feet high. So they've had 2 quarterback Heisman Trophy winners.
Yep.
But neither of them won the national championship.
Yep, Jason White and Sam Bradford, yeah.
So Baker Mayfield has the opportunity to be the first Heisman Trophy winning national championship quarterback.
And first to ever finish 3 years in the top 4 in the Heisman voting, which is an amazing feat in and of itself. I think he's guaranteed of that. And surprise onside.
Onside kick. West Virginia pulling out all the stops. Let's see if Staley recovered his own kick. It definitely traveled 10 yards. Evan Staley, what a story, the redshirt freshman from Romney, West Virginia.
What a great call here by Dana Holgorsen. You see that front line for Oklahoma is about 12 yards away from the football. It looked like number 29, that's Prentice McKinney, a safety, just kind of fell asleep on it, and heads up play by Staley jumping on the football. Has to go 10 yards.
I thought it did, Grease. He might have made contact.
Right hand. Did he get that right hand on the football before it traveled 10 yards? A great call by Dana Holgorsen, and we're going to find out if it was executed correctly. You get anxious, right? Because you see that defender that's coming for that ball, and then you reach out for the football. Again, it's got to get to the 45-yard line before Staley can touch it. Watch his right hand. Yeah, I think he touches it clearly before it gets to 45 yards, right there to the 45-yard line.
And that was well designed. You see a lot of bad onside kicks too. That was perfectly done, except for that one little issue of not traveling 10 yards.
Wow.
And this is going to hand Oklahoma great field position.
Well, it was a gutsy call. Great call by Dana Holgorsen. You just got to execute it, and it's a game of inches.
Really haven't heard that before. Really? I gotta write that down.
I'm probably the best color man in the business for nothing.
That's a good point. You finally watched Major League, huh? You finally got to watch some of those movies. With Tom Petty blaring in the background. The waiting, of course. As we wait on Brad Van Vark's call.
I think if West Virginia would have executed this correctly, and then they get the ball near midfield and are able to go down and put another 7 points, it's a completely different ball game. But now, as you mentioned, Oklahoma's going to get this football in plus territory, and with their explosive offense,
give them a short field.
Yeah, and you get the ball back in the second half too if you're West Virginia, so you're really trying to carry the momentum in. I agree. I thought it was a great call. So close.
After review, the ball was illegally touched by the kicking team at the 44.5 yard line. Therefore, the ball belongs to the receiving team. First down and 10.
6 more inches. Great idea, great design. Does not work out for the Mountaineers. And when this one is all said and done, we might circle this play as the turning point or the key point of the game.
Well, I mean, West Virginia should be in this ball game. You go back to the David Sills drop. You go back to the fumble by Justin Crawford taking his eyes off the ball, and then that play just a little bit early by Staley. Those 3 plays could have gone in West Virginia's favor.
What's Dana arguing there? That seemed to be pretty conclusive, the video. So they open up on first down and 10 now. Oklahoma does at the West Virginia 44.5. The half playing the critical role. Mayfield to throw off the play action. Wide open is Mark Andrews. He rumbles down inside the 20-yard line. Andrews' first catch of the day. It's good for 25.
Great look at Baker Mayfield thrown into a window. You got zone dropping linebackers, David Long and Benton, and that is perfectly done. That's great anticipation from Baker Mayfield. Mark Andrews, that's years of being on the same page with your tight end and being accurate with the football and on time.
At the 20. On the ground, a Trey Sermon. And a flag comes in late. True freshman from Marietta, Georgia. Al-Rashid Benton, who was shaken up earlier, able to make the play.
Holding, offense number 58. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
That's Eric Wren, the center. Benton's name came up in discussions this week because he's one of the guys who like to talk on the West Virginia defense. And we were wondering really on both sides, how do you get inside Baker Mayfield's head? Can he be toyed with? Can you rattle his cage? And if anyone on West Virginia was going to do it, it likely was going to be Al.
Yeah, and based on what happened last week with Baker in Kansas, he's going to get everybody is going to be chirping at him. So he's got to adjust his game. He's got to be ready for that. If I were playing Baker Mayfield, I wouldn't talk to him at all. You don't want to poke the bear.
Leave him alone. Here's 1st and 20 after the marker. Mayfield will throw it. He'll zip it in there again for Andrews. Get most of the penalty yardage back.
This is patented Baker Mayfield here. He's just going to extend. And here's Mark Andrews. And being on the same page, we talked about it 2 plays ago. All these receivers know that when he extends plays and he goes to his right in particular, that he's going to have his eyes downfield and they've got to uncover. One of the strategies from Tony Gibson, defensive coordinator for West Virginia, was to flush Baker Mayfield to the opposite direction, left. Felt like he wasn't as effective.
Here's Sermon, 50 move, and he's dropped at the 10-yard line. I think he'll be short of the first down. Kenny Robinson made a fine tackle. Bring up 3rd and 1, and the chippiness continues.
That's Kenny Robinson, the true freshman safety for West Virginia. He's coming up and was grabbing the leg.
Feels like bedlam down here. There's bad blood, it seems, between these two teams.
Robinson dumps Sermon down there, and then Bobby Evans, the tackle, was not going to have it. Now, they've already had fisticuffs on the other side of the football, down inside the 5-yard line, guys pushing and shoving. You see Baker Mayfield in the middle of that, right? Trying to break it up.
Yeah.
Where typically he's an instigator. And now, I guess he's
one week later,
taking a different role.
He's a brand new guy.
Trying to take a different role.
These two teams engaged in some rough stuff and some chippiness prior to last year's game. Here's 3rd and 1. Mayfield gonna try to keep it, lowers his shoulder and can't get there. A host of Mountaineers on 3rd and 1. And again, more pushing and shoving after the whistle. Kaiser White made the first hit on Mayfield to keep him out, prevent him from getting that first down.
That's the first play call I have not agreed with from Lincoln Riley. I don't know what this formation was. I don't know what this play was, but I'm not going to take my star quarterback and put him in harm's way if I don't need to. I've got Dimitri Flowers back there, 250 pounds. Give it to him in short yardage and let him convert. But Baker Mayfield took 2 or 3 big hits on that short run, didn't make it.
Sooners have already converted on a 4th and 1. Here's a second opportunity. Flowers is in there, the fullback. Mayfield out of the gun, and you heard the whistles. They set Badette in motion, and a timeout taken. And again, more players coming together.
Oklahoma calls their first time out of the half. It'll be a media break.
Oklahoma charged with that timeout as the players are separated. We saw TCU involved in some ugliness yesterday. Of course, TCU will play Oklahoma next week in the Big 12 championship game. Back to Norman after this. Back just in time. Here's 4th and 1 for Baker Mayfield and Oklahoma, leading 21-10 from the 11 of West Virginia. Mayfield on the ground to Rodney Anderson. He's got the first down, and he wants some more. And won't allow himself to be brought down until the 4, and then the players come together again, and more flags fly, and the officials need to get control of this one. Drew Samia in the middle of it all, the offensive lineman, the massive right guard from Sacramento.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 75 of the offense. That'll be a 15-yard penalty. Number 75 is disqualified from the game.
You had to see this coming if you're Drew Samia, right? It's Adam Schuler. He's been doing it the last couple of plays, and he got the best of him. You can't talk to him. You can't retaliate. Oklahoma has much more to lose than West Virginia does. And take a look right here. What you didn't see was before that, Schuler was on top of Samia, pushing him into the ground, baiting him, and Samia reacted.
They've been baiting him all game long.
Samia will leave. He was the first Oklahoma true freshman offensive tackle starter dating back to 2006. Tells you how talented he is. And he's heading for the early shower. Kicked out of the game.
Let's go back and take a look at what Schuler, I think, is as much at fault here as anybody. He's number 88 in white. Here he is right on top of him. And just pushing him into the ground. Maybe trying to get his hand in his face mask. I mean, who knows what's going on there. And it's hard to blame Samia for the reaction, but you gotta let him go. You gotta let it go, and he's really fortunate this happened in the first half of the game rather than the second half, because if it happened in the second half, he wouldn't play the first half of next week in the Big 12 championship game potentially against TCU.
So it's time to settle things down, and the officials have done some of that. Ben Powers moves over to the right guard. Cody Ford will replace Powers at the left guard.
I'm not sure why Samia is thrown out of the game, though, to be totally honest. We didn't throw a punch. You know, you get it unsportsmanlike. You get a warning before you get kicked out of the football game. I'd love an explanation from this Big 12 crew as to why they kicked him out of the football game rather than just give him an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Reese, I thought when he was on his back, he did fire a right in the air, but he was down in a prone position trying to protect himself.
The play resulted in a first down.
This is Baker Mayfield in the break trying to tell everybody, hey, don't talk to him. Just don't talk to him.
After the foul is enforced.
Great leadership there and a change from Baker Mayfield from a week ago, but Samia obviously didn't listen to him.
So it's going to be first down and goal with the ball spotted out at the 20-yard line after the post-possession foul. We'll take another look at that, what happened in the pile. We get an explanation. On the ground off the high snap, Anderson is able to get 3 yards. And again, there's more pushing and shoving. Looked like White got the extra shot in there. And the crowd wants to know where's the penalty marker this time.
Yep. And I agree with you, Steve. I mean, Brad Van Verk and this crew, they need to take ownership of this game. We'll take one more look and see what Samia did here. He's on top of him, trying to get him off of him.
Watch coming up here, right there. Is that a punch?
And the center judge was right on top of it. Guy's right on top of you.
Brian Allos is the center judge. Second down. Anderson spins off one tackle. Gets out to the 10, gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Oklahoma. extra point is good. That is the touchdown that follows the onside kick that didn't go far enough.
Yeah, you want to shut somebody up that's chirping at you, talking to you. Don't use punches, use power, and put the ball in the end zone. This is the way you shut up a team.
CD Lamb emerging as one of the best young wide receivers in the country, and if you want to take your game to the next level, you block like this. What a great job working down the field and allowing the back to get in for a score.
28-10, the fourth-ranked Sooners on top.
Rated RP2M.
Now starting at $199.
PlayStation.
Jeffy Lube, rivalry week continues tonight. Clemson and South Carolina. Boy, South Carolina, they would just love to spoil the Tigers' fun
at home,
right? And keep in mind, South Carolina has won 5 straight home games. That'll be fun to watch tonight when we are through from Norman, Oklahoma. 28-10, fourth-ranked Sooners, and again, more than nonsense. And in a rivalry weekend, you don't exactly think of West Virginia and Oklahoma as two rivals. Trey Norwood in there doing some of the talking.
Yeah, these two teams got into it before the game last year, though. We got to be smart right now. You want to get the fans into it, your Lampkin, and you got the momentum now if you're Oklahoma, but you got to be smart.
Mentioned last year, and this is the game played in Morgantown. This was prior to the game.
Love the emotion of college football, right? You come out and you want to be emotional, you want to pull an upset, and then West Virginia got the doors blown off.
Baker accounted for 4 touchdowns on the day, 56-28 win. That's the poking of the bear you talked about. I think Baker Mayfield's a changed man.
Well, you want to see a change in behavior, right? Who knows if he's a changed man? Yeah, but I will say this. After that last touchdown, I watched him throughout the entire break. He went up and down the sideline. He talked to every starter on the defense. And I think what he was saying to him, hey, be smart, right? They're going to come after you, be smart. And then he went all the way down his entire starting offense and said the same thing. That's a great change in behavior to me if you're watching Baker Mayfield.
Off the play fake. Chugging off to throw, lofts it a little too high. Look for Eli Wellman. Again, remember last week, got all the national headlines, all the conversation at Kansas. They refused to shake his hand, and well, Mayfield went a little too far. And then this week, he's the peacemaker.
Yeah, well, this is what you want to see, right? If you're an Oklahoma fan or you're a fan of college football, you see him in there breaking up a fight, getting his guys. He's not looking at the West Virginia guys. He's looking at his guys. Focused on leadership with his team without losing that passion and that edge. I think that's a great sign for Baker.
These are college players. They're still learning. So we got a timeout.
Timeout, Oklahoma, their second of the half. It'll be a media break.
5:14 to go here in the half. These teams could use a cooling down period. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. And this the final weekend, regular season weekend of college football. Championship weekend upcoming. The bowl season, all good all the time. College football. 3rd down and 8. Chris Chugginoff, 6 of 9 for 98 yards passing so far. Replacing the injured Will Greer. Chugginoff, great protection, and he'll check it down to Trayvon Wesco. Caleb Kelly makes the stop. Trevon Wesco on the grab. And there is a flag down at the 23-yard line. Check the mark.
You mentioned it. Great protection for Chugginoff. Obo Okoronkwo was coming off the edge, and the right tackle, Colton McKivitz, just stoned him. We haven't mentioned Okoronkwo's name much in this game at all. There's two, I think, really good tackles for West Virginia. McKivitz on the right side, and then Kajust on the left side. They've done their part. It hasn't been because of them that they're down in this game.
The pass was touched and caught by a receiver that was covered up and therefore ineligible. We have illegal touching on the offense. That penalty will be declined, brings up 4th down.
So more illegal touching.
Just can't go right for West Virginia. Here's McKivitz on the right side. Okoronkwo is one of the better pass rushers, and you see McKivitz, he gives a little bit of ground, and then at some point when you get that bull rush right into you as an offensive tackle, you've got to be able to put your feet in the ground and stone him, and that was impressive for McKivitz.
Here's Billy Kinney, and our first punt of the game comes with under 5 minutes to play in the half. CeeDee Lamb is dropped at the 35. Send it to Dan Burke.
All right, Leafs, thank you very much. Coming up on the Lexus halftime report, back and forth so far on the Iron Bowl as Auburn has a slim lead over Alabama at the half. Plus, Urbier enthusiasm. Ohio State may have won over Michigan, but Urban Meyer irked with what happened to his starting quarterback. Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, and me coming up the half. Leaves back to you.
Something about a camera, apparently.
Great tease there by Adam.
Yeah.
You don't know what that is. It can be ticked off after a game like that.
Wasn't our broadcast either. Wasn't our camera. Just saying. We'll watch for the halftime report coming up. 4:46 to go here in the second quarter. It's all West Virginia when it comes to time of possession. It's never mattered less. Off the play fake. Mayfield throwing down the middle. What a grab by Lamb. Spinorama. And he's down. Knocked out at the 2-yard line, but there are 2 flags back behind the play. There are 2 flags back at the 26 and the 29-yard line. If it stands, it's a 62-yard play.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 5 of the defense. Penalty will be added to the end of the run, half the distance, 1st down.
Xavier Preston roughing the passer.
Oh, yeah.
It's an easy call for the official, too.
That's a great throw here from Baker Mayfield. A lot of times you try to put a lot of air under that football, but take the guesswork out of it. He throws a dart to CeeDee Lamb, and as impressive as that throw was, Steve, I'm more impressed that Baker Mayfield didn't react or respond to that clear personal foul from Xavier Preston. Put 2 hands into his neck area. That's really well done by Baker Mayfield.
He was dancing down the field. Mayfield's been perfect in every aspect today. Hand off to Rodney Anderson. And Kaiser White fills the hole. Bring up a 2nd down and goal. Baker Mayfield passing is 6 for 6. 173 yards and 1 touchdown. And if I was him, you know what? I'd be dancing too. Look at him. There's a happy guy.
He just loves playing the game, right? And you love to watch players like that.
Yes.
You know?
And it's infectious. His teammates pick up on it as well. Here's 2nd down and goal. Again, it's Anderson. And he gets there. Touchdown. Rodney Anderson finds the end zone again. His 4th touchdown of the game.
There's only so much chirping you can do, so many late hits you can have. But once you get down by 24 points in the first half of a game, it all falls flat. And Oklahoma has taken over control of the physicality of this game, the execution of this game, and they're winning with class right now.
5 possessions, 5 touchdowns by the Sooners. Up 35-10.
on the field, right? Get your guys up. Make sure nobody does anything stupid. You know it's been a chippy game. Let's get off the field. And then once you get off the field, now you can go back to your to your normal ebullient self, right? And have some fun.
I'd love to believe, Grease, he's a changed man, but I find it hard to believe that anybody could change so much in a 1 week span. Now, I'd like to believe he's learned his lesson, you know, and of course this will come out. We'll find out how he really has changed in the future and definitely at the next level. But I have to be impressed by the turnaround in Baker Mayfield.
I don't think that you change who you are in 1 week, Steve. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that what Lincoln Riley said to Baker Mayfield is you need to change your behavior. I don't want you to change who you are. I just need you to be a better Baker Mayfield. And that means managing that edge on the field, being smarter than you were last week. And yes, you can do that in 1 week, right? Change your behavior, have some more discipline, and he's done that. He needs credit for that.
I think the best part of you is what he told us, Todd McShay.
And Greasy, you put it perfectly earlier. We all made mistakes. We still make mistakes, but we all made mistakes when we were around his age. And he's having to be really the face of college football this year. And a lot of pressure on him, and he plays the game with emotion. Sometimes the best things that happen to you, and I know in my life, or when you do stumble and you do make a dumb decision, having someone there for you to be able to tell you and to punish you.
And Todd, the face of college football, the next step, you know, is the face of an NFL team. And we'll get into that as the game progresses. Here's Adnan.
Face of an NFL team, perhaps Baker Mayfield one day. Just want to let you know, PlayStation View, Multiview leaves. Wisconsin right now is all over Minnesota. That game's on ABC. And Kansas State, a slim lead over Iowa State. That game is on ESPN 2. Back to you guys in Norman.
All right, Adnan, thank you.
And Todd's exactly right. You know, I mean, I made a ton of mistakes when I was Baker's age, and I was suspended by Lloyd Carr, our head coach, for 6 months of a season. Talk about being humbled, okay? Football was taken away from me, and sometimes you need that to change behavior.
Out of the Wildcat, it's Kennedy McCoy. This is about the only thing that has worked on offense. And he is swung around by Stephen Parker.
We'll go back and take one more look. Watch, he gets punched in the head. I mean, that could have easily been a targeting foul and an ejection for Preston. He doesn't go back and chirp. He doesn't chase after him. Just says, listen, there's a flag. Throw the flag. Okay, that's a change of behavior that's positive for Baker.
And he's going to be tested going forward. Because you know it's in his DNA because we've seen it before. And under intense pressure, how will he respond? Here's Justin Crawford on the ground for a yard. Kenneth Mann making the tackle. Todd, so you know NFL people are watching every move by Baker Mayfield. I'm curious, you know, reaction to the shenanigans of a week ago and how quickly they might fall back in love with him if they lost any of that love this week.
Yeah, I actually talked to a few scouts and general managers this week on purpose because I knew we'd talk about this. And every one of them basically said, hey, listen, he's going to go through psychological tests. We're going to interview him. We're going to really dig into who he is as a person. And we're going to find out more as we get closer. But it definitely puts it on the radar, and it's a red flag you have to deal with.
3rd and 7. Chug it off. Down the sideline. Underthrew his intended target, Gary Jennings. Stephen Parker had the coverage.
One GM that I talked to said, you know, Phillip Rivers, he kind of plays the game with that same mentality, and it's worked out for Rivers. Maturing is the whole key. It is learning from some of these mistakes.
Yeah, Todd, you know, I agree with you, and I don't think it's as much for the NFL about the actions. I think it's about the character of the individuals, but sometimes actions are windows into who we are as individuals. And if that's not really who Baker Mayfield is, these change in behavior and actions today, I think, is a step in the right direction.
That'll bounce in front of C.D. Lamb, and it'll be down by West Virginia. I'd love to know what Coach Carr suspended you for. I think America wants to know.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, check Google.
Down to Todd for more on Baker. You got some grades for us? A+, A? Oh,
yeah,
no.
they keep improving every time we see him. Let's put it that way. And I think, you know, a little bit like his personality, his greatest strength is his ability to extend plays and create, but the fact that there is the issue of him struggling, moving to his left and stepping up in the pocket, it's a really good grade in terms of pocket mobility, but there are some things he can still improve. But for me personally, I thought coming into the year, he was more of a third rounder who maybe one day develops into a starter down the road, but you're not banking on it, versus investing a first-round pick in him. And right now, he's playing like a first-round quarterback, and I know the intangibles everyone's going to look at, but he has an awesome football character.
That's a big move from the third round to a first-round pick. As Trey Sermon is the ball carrier. And Todd, you still have him fourth quarterback coming off the board?
I do, but the gap is closing almost weekly. I mean, the way he's playing and the leadership he shows and just the it factor that he brings.
You know, Todd, there's no substitute for being accurate, too. And I feel like he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks in all of college football. You can't overcome that if you don't have it.
Leads the nation in completion percentage. And he'll add to that right there. Dimitri Flowers across midfield. And his accuracy, he's been perfect today.
Yes.
100%.
He's been the most efficient quarterback in college football in back-to-back seasons, and he will leave a legacy here at Oklahoma as the most efficient quarterback to ever play in college football. I mean, and I know there's been a lot of programs, a lot of quarterbacks, and we're in a passing kind of era here in college football, but nobody has done it more efficiently than Baker Mayfield. That's saying something.
Little shuttle to Jeff Badette, the wide receiver. And he gets out of bounds just before the first down marker. That goes as a completion, make Mayfield 8 for 8 in the game. If you're just joining us, he did not start the game. Kyler Murray got the start. He ran 66 yards, Murray did, on his first snap. Wound up being a touchdown drive. Only a two-play drive, went 70 yards. Cashed in with a 4-yard touchdown from Rodney Anderson. And then it was back to the Baker Mayfield show. With 50 seconds left in the half. Play fake. Mayfield wants some more. All sorts of time. Now he'll take a shot and throw back in the end zone. And it's knocked away. Mark Andrews had it, and then he did not. Elijah Battle able to knock it free. And that goes as the first incompletion for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, you can see Baker thinking through that play the whole time. He had plenty of protection, plenty of time, and thought he might give his big tight end an opportunity there. Had a chance. Good coverage by West Virginia.
From our progressive pylon cam, you got the beautiful look at it. 3rd down and 3 upcoming.
West Virginia. Their second of the half. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
Timeout Mountaineers, and Baker Mayfield leaves and playing in his final home game here today. Think about all he has achieved. Dana Holgerson said it seems like he's been around a decade. He has been around a long time, but putting up eye-popping, staggering numbers. And he will leave here, I believe, as the best quarterback in Oklahoma history.
Yep. And you know, if they're able to continue on, win the Big 12, get into the playoff, and win a national championship, imagine the legacy that number 6 in red will leave on this university. And you know, I think one thing we were talking with Todd about is the next level for him. I think, you know, with so much variability, so many question marks with quarterbacks and drafting quarterbacks. You look at some of the ones that have been drafted here lately. You can take out of the equation the competitiveness with him. Like, you know that he loves football. He's going to live football at the next level. And to me, there's a lot of value in that.
So you're not hung up on the height like a lot of people are.
No.
I agree. Off the flea flicker, they want some more. Mayfield's going to get tripped up and then stay on his feet and slide down. And a couple of white jerseys will fall on top of him for good measure.
They had a flea flicker and it wasn't open downfield, and it's a great job, great awareness from Baker Mayfield of not forcing the football. Here it comes back. Normally they only have one receiver out. You see the safety running out of there, so just try to make something out of nothing.
It's a 5-yard run on 1st down and 10. Mayfield will throw and zips it in there to Mark Andrews. You know, move the sticks to start the clock again.
Another 30 seconds here with one timeout.
Sermon is stopped at the 22, and now they'll spend their last timeout.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley wanted more out of that run right there. I think he might be kicking himself, say, why did I call that run and force myself to call my last timeout? If you throw the football there or you get any kind of clock stoppage, you open up your inventory of plays you can call.
Week 12 of the NFL is upon us. Make sure you're watching 10 a.m. Eastern here on ESPN, our Sunday NFL Countdown crew. All the early breaking stories, injury updates, and we'll preview each game right up until kickoff, also streaming live on the ESPN app. And then cap off Week 12, the NFL in style. Marty and company will be headed for Baltimore. It's Monday Night Football, the Texans and the Ravens. Coverage begins with Susie and the gang. Monday Night Countdown at 6 p.m. Eastern. Also available in Spanish on ESPN2. 35-10 Oklahoma, and they are not satisfied. They are looking for more. The Sooners already have 421 yards of offense and 5 touchdowns, and this is their 6th possession of this first half. And I wonder if Dana Holgerson is going back to that. You know, if we just had gotten that onside kick.
Yeah.
It was 21-10. Right. Could have had possession at midfield, and things were clicking for West Virginia at that point. Since then, they've been able to add a couple scores. Here's Mayfield. All sorts of time directing traffic. Now he'll gun it out for Marquise Brown. He'll get out of bounds. Stop the clock.
West Virginia continues to try to bait Baker Mayfield. That time it's Ezekiel Rose pulling him down late after the ball's thrown. Take a look again. Here's Rose coming 91. Baker throws the ball. Right there. What would he have done earlier in the year, right? You can still talk, right? You just can't have the action.
Here's Mayfield. Zips one in there to Andrews for the touchdown. And I'm not sure that will add to the talking or quiet the Mountaineers. Second touchdown pass for Baker Mayfield, who's having himself a party in his final home game as a senior Sooner. 41-10 Oklahoma.
Wow. Maybe that needs to be Baker Mayfield's new celebration after a touchdown. Get away from everybody on the field, run over to your sideline, and then do some kind of celebration.
I think it'll be interesting. We started talking about, you know, when is he going to come into the game? I think in the second half it'll be interesting when Lincoln Riley pulls him from the game, especially in a chippy affair. Yep. He's put up some gaudy numbers to this point.
Yeah, lost in all that is what a great throw this was. You got to throw it right behind the linebacker, David Long. We saw this earlier in the game. When you have play action, hard play action in a run game with Sting and an accurate quarterback like that, that can throw the ball into tight windows, that is almost impossible to stop. And when you have a guy who's emotional and he can manage those emotions, still energize your team, that's the best of both worlds.
He's emotional, and he's also honest. He had this to say this week. He's asked about the opponents, and if I were on another team, I would hate me too.
More so for his play than anything.
Yeah. I do not like that guy. And his coaching staff, look, you expect the coaching staff to say nice things about their own player, but they go overboard. We don't know the kid like that. And we see the incidents, we have seen the apologies, and yet all we hear from the other side is what a great kid. A kid who goes out of his way, gives people extra time in the facility and out of the facility.
Great with the kids. You know, kids are around the program, and he spends extra special time with them. He goes up to visit kids, doesn't need a camera to go with him, and that's what you want to hear about him.
And his teammates swear by him. 13 more seconds to play out in this first half.
But all that being said, right, he's out of I'm sorries.
Yes.
Right. Nobody wants to hear any more I'm sorries from Baker Mayfield, right? Like,
regardless.
Yes, there's 3 of them this year. 1 off the field related and 2 on the field. Punching the flag at Ohio State. That doesn't bother me as much as what happened a week ago, but Baker Mayfield, you're done with the I'm sorries. Just let your play speak for you.
Chuganov and company to get in the locker. A bit of a low snap. He'll throw it on the run, and he'll complete. Little trickeration, a pitch. And that ball, let's see. Oklahoma says they've got it. And they do. Another turnover. This with 4 seconds left. I mean, I credit West Virginia for trying things. But when they do, they're making it worse. Parnell Motley, I think, recovered that.
Yeah, they tried the hook and lateral, and he laterals it to Jennings. He was going to throw it on the sideline. You saw Crawford, it was on the sideline. That was going to be a double lateral. So here's the first lateral to Jennings. You see Crawford over there to 25 on the sideline. And I mean, the hook and lateral itself is difficult to execute just because you're going to have guys grabbing on you. 2 of them, I've never seen that before.
Think Mayfield is going to take a knee? I don't think so.
We'll try a field goal.
Austin Seibert. His career long is 49 yards. This will be from 51. To really make West Virginia pay. Tom away. And it is good. Austin Seibert, a new career long. The most accurate field goal kicker in the Big 12. Hits from 51. Hard to imagine this first half going any better for Baker Mayfield and Oklahoma. 45-10. The Sooners lead West Virginia. We'll hear from Coach Lincoln Riley with Todd in a moment. But first, to the studio, Adnan Virk and the halftime report. The National Championship Trophy, presented by Dr. Pepper, is on display here at Oklahoma. You're watching college football on ESPN, presented by PlayStation Vue. And if you saw us in the first half, you saw an awful lot of Oklahoma offense. The Baker Mayfield show. It started late, but when it started, look out, get out of the way. One of 18 seniors being honored, playing his final home game here today in Norman, and then got off to a hot start.
And the question was, how is he going to respond to last week being suspended for the opening of the game and the captaincy? Would he come out and play with a little more calm, a little more cool, a little more class? That was the question, and he's answered that in droves. He's been a leader on the field. He's been a leader in breaking up some of these skirmishes in the first half, trying to be the voice of reason on the sideline at times. And I tell you, Steve, I've been impressed with the way that he's changed his behavior in just 1 week's time.
Maybe the only question here in a 45-10 game is how much longer we see him, if at all. Especially when you consider Kyler Murray, who started the game at quarterback. On his first snap, he ripped off 66 yards up the middle, and they cashed in for a touchdown 1 play later. But he has no helmet. And West Virginia will get the football. And they will start out at the own 25-yard line. So much up for grabs still in college football when you look at the landscape. Maybe appear what's going on with Auburn and Alabama right away. So much going on, and here it is. You know, Oklahoma can't clinch a berth in the playoffs today. Baker Mayfield might be able to clinch the Heisman Trophy, though, today.
Well, he's still going to have to play well next week, but certainly Baker is head and shoulders above the rest of the candidates, although I would put in my 2 cents for Kerryon Johnson, who looks like he's having a heck of a game in the Iron Bowl and laying it all on the line for his team. Deserves to be in New York.
On first down and 10. Out to the 27-yard line. Justin Crawford picks up 3. You know, it's hard to say this game turned on that onside kick because it was already 21-10. But ever since that onside kick that West Virginia illegally touched, really 6 inches too soon, Oklahoma scored 24 unanswered points. And they lead 45-10. Chris Chuganov is the starting quarterback, but it's Kennedy McCoy out of the Wildcat, who's done the bulk of the offense for the Mountaineers. Marquez Overton makes the tackle there. Chugunov is an interesting story because he replaced Will Greer. In case you missed it from a week ago, Greer, a gruesome injury, and brought into some talking about the attention of the play call itself on a 3rd down and 1. Instead of handing it off to, say, a Justin Crawford, for example, it was Greer trying to reach for the pylon and busted up his finger. Had the surgery this past Sunday. He hopes to be back in maybe 4 to 6 weeks. They're trying to see if they can time up with their bowl game, but that is yet to be determined. Kennedy McCoy has 1st down yards there, but Greer was having a phenomenal season for West Virginia.
Yeah, 34 touchdowns on the season. He was dynamite, and this is the play that you mentioned. It was a fake, and I don't blame the play call one bit. These things happen. It's football. It's a physical sport. He gets his hand caught in the ground and broke that finger. And the good news is that the surgery was successful, as you mentioned, and he's got another season left. You know, he's obviously started his career at Florida and resurrected it here under Dana Holgorsen, and he'll be back next year.
There's Chugunov down the middle of the field. It's a jump ball, and it's knocked away. David Sills was the intended target. Parnell Motley and Will Johnson had the excellent coverage for Oklahoma.
David Sills was the beneficiary of that great year from Will Greer. He has 18 touchdowns, leads all of college football, and he's a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award, which will be awarded the first week of December. I think he's a real candidate. I mean, he obviously, James Washington from Oklahoma State as well in that list.
That's Sills in motion. And they'll hand it off to Crawford, and he is taken down for a loss. Amani Bledsoe, and a flag comes late. Could be a face mask. And that seems to be everyone's indication.
Yeah, that clearly looked like a face mask. I'm not sure why there weren't 2 or 3 more flags. Bledsoe got that right hand out on Justin Crawford. If I'm Brad Van Vark, I'm gonna call this game really tight in the second half. I'm not gonna allow any shenanigans, any after the whistle, pushing and shoving. You got to take control.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. 15 yards at the end of the run, 1st down.
It was a first half that got out of control, seemingly for a while there in the second quarter. After every whistle, flags were flying and players were coming together. We did see 1 ejection.
And if I were the referee at halftime, I would have gone into both coaches' locker rooms and I would have had a conversation with each head coach about the way that this game had gone in the first half and the way that I wanted it to go in the second half, and that I was planning on calling it tighter in the second half. And Lincoln Riley should listen, because anything that happens to Oklahoma in the second half could influence the first half of the Big 12 championship game next week against TCU.
Yes, that is all locked up, all decided. Great to have the Big 12 championship back. And I like the way they do it, too. It's not a division side, you know, east, west, north, south. Give me the 2 best teams in the championship game. Here's Crawford. And he'll stay on his feet. Justin Crawford will knife through for a few more down to the 29.
That's what Crawford does so well, is his vision. He really reads his blocks, but also reads the defense. In Oklahoma, sometimes when they get in trouble, the linebackers and safeties can bite on it and go in one direction and get sucked into that direction. And if you have a good back with vision and a sense for the cutback lane, like Crawford, you're able to exploit it.
19 yards on that play. Crawford's over 1,000 rushing for the season now. Well, Chugunov and McCoy are back there in the backfield. They're next to each other. Interesting to see who gets the snap. It's Chugunov this time. And he'll throw one down. And underthrew Gary Jennings. A flag flies late. Stephen Parker on the coverage. He's going to get whistled for pass interference.
This is the biggest difference between a Will Greer and a Chris Chugunov. Greer makes this throw. Jennings clearly had the defender beat, and a ball thrown in the back of the end zone would have been a touchdown.
Defense number 10, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic 1st down.
Chugunov's ball is probably 6 or 7 yards short. Now you get the pass interference, but that should have been a touchdown.
Ball is spotted out at the 10.5-yard line. Rather bigger ball than 15.5.
And as Oklahoma goes forward, that's going to be the area where teams are going to attack them in the secondary. They've got a lot of young players, 2 true freshmen playing a lot of snaps. They've gotten better, but they're going to be challenged as this season goes on.
It's McCoy, untouched into the end zone. Kennedy McCoy for the 15-yard touchdown. Second touchdown of the game for McCoy as he creeps near 100 yards rushing.
It was an interesting looking play there. It almost looked like McCoy halfway through his read was going to stop and throw the football. Watch him here. He pauses, he's looking downfield, and then he goes. I don't know if he was just waiting for the hole to develop or whether he was actually going to throw the ball down the field. Either way, the Red Seas parted and an easy touchdown.
There is the extra point. 11:59 left here in the third. Things will look a little better now for West Virginia, aided by a couple of penalties. 45-17, Baker back when we come back.
It's a Phil Knight birthday bash. 4 teams, 2 championships, 1 time only. Celebrate PK 80 tomorrow.
It's that time of year. Finish up the great college football regular season and get into the meat of the college basketball season. We look forward to that on the ESPN family of networks. Following the West Virginia touchdown, we'll see how Oklahoma will answer. Bounce into the end zone for a touchback. Everything seemingly working for Oklahoma here today.
Yeah, but their favorite play, Steve, on offense is the counter, unquestionably. They love to pull Orlando Brown or Bobby Evans on one side and get Rodney Anderson into the second level, and then they add on top Dimitri Flowers. They've done this play all year to perfection. I think a big reason why Rodney Anderson has gotten more looks as this season has gone on is because of his patience on this play in particular, that counter play. Remember, early in the season, it was Abdul Adams, it was true freshman Trey Sermon, and Anderson has come on in the last month and a half of the season. Good story, too. He missed 2 years, one with a broken leg. He broke his neck another year, and finally, as a senior, he's gotten his opportunity to shine.
Mayfield comes out firing and overthrows CeeDee Lamb. More on Rodney Anderson. At the season-ending injuries, 2015 it was the knee. 2016 it was a neck injury. He was really a quiet, likable guy. And his parents say he's hilarious. I mean, he's funny. He's just hilarious around the team, but you don't often see that personality out of him. Apparently here in Norman, his parents actually own a gourmet popcorn store back in Katy, Texas.
Look at you. You got all kind of research.
He's cracking. That is 45-17. Here's Mayfield to throw. And they look for more. That stops the clock, the incompletion. Over the head of Marquise Brown. So talented. And, you know, with all these coaching names popping up, how smart does Oklahoma look right now for locking up Lincoln Riley when they did?
Yeah, you know, I think you got to give Bob Stoops some credit, too. I mean, Bob Stoops is Oklahoma through and through. And he was a big reason why Lincoln Riley is here in the first place. And I think Bob Stoops realized for the good of this program going forward, for the next 10, 15 years, it was the right time to step aside and allow Lincoln Riley to assume the leadership role here, because other programs would have been coming. They would have been beating down his door.
On 3rd and 10, Mayfield fires and completes. Grant Calcaterra, his first catch, and there's a first down for 15 yards.
Checked him into that play, too. Pre-snap.
You see him do a lot of that, Todd? I haven't seen a ton of it.
No, not a ton, but I happened to notice that one because at the last minute he motioned to his receivers and checked out of whatever they had, and clearly he knew what he was doing.
That's the one thing we don't talk a whole lot about with Baker Mayfield is managing protections at the line of scrimmage, getting in and out of the right plays. But I asked Lincoln Riley about it when we were here a month ago, and he felt as comfortable with him as anybody he's ever had in checking plays.
Mayfield off the play fake, throwing, and again it's Lamb. They love CeeDee Lamb, a true freshman. They have so many talented people at the skill positions here.
The game plan for Lincoln Riley in the second half is come out, get a stop on defense. So that didn't happen. But if they score on offense, I'm taking the starters out of this game.
Gain of 11 on that play. Lamb had 9 catches, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Texas Tech when we were here last time. Put on quite a show. He's got 4 catches for 92 yards so far here today. On the ground is Sermon staying on his feet, the first down, and then some. Kaiser White bringing him down, but not until it was too late. Gain of 16.
We just talked about that counter play. Take a look at big Orlando Brown. He just swallows people. Then Bobby Evans throwing people on the ground. I mean, this offensive line is playing with attitude here, and that's great. You know, I love seeing that. If I'm Lincoln Riley, I know these guys are on the edge. I want to get one more touchdown drive, and I want these guys on the sideline.
Toyus Avery is being attended to for West Virginia. Coming up tonight, Clemson and South Carolina. One of the great rivalry games all across college football. And man, South Carolina could really do a number on the Tigers tonight. That'll be fun to watch. The game known as the Palmetto Bowl. They're meeting for the 109th straight season. Second longest uninterrupted series. Minnesota-Wisconsin is also playing at this hour. Not nearly as close. That matchup is the longest. What do you think about Clemson, South Carolina tonight?
Well, if you're rooting for chaos in college football, you're rooting for South Carolina, because if Clemson goes down and then they have 2 losses and end up beating Miami in the ACC championship,
see ya.
You'd almost say the ACC's out.
Yep.
And now you got to bring back the Pac-12 conversation.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's Ohio State with 2 losses. It comes back potentially in the conversation. Even at TCU, if they're able to somehow find a way to beat this juggernaut in Oklahoma next week, could be back in.
Play fake. Mayfield will throw. And underthrow is intended. Target Marquise Brown. Elijah Battle was with him. There is a flag, as you might expect.
As you watch Oklahoma next week in the Big 12 championship.
Pass interference, defense number 19. 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Battle doesn't even turn his head.
And if they're able to get into the college football playoff, you need to watch number 5, Marquise Brown. If you don't get a jam on him at the line of scrimmage, he will make you pay in the secondary. I'm not sure why teams aren't coming up and jamming him. He's not real good at getting off the line of scrimmage with physical corners. But if you let him run, he'll make you pay.
It's only 162 pounds. First down and 10. Abdul Adams is checked in for the first time. And Mayfield to throw. Finds his man in a seam. It's Calcaterra for the touchdown. Grant Calcaterra. 3rd touchdown of the season for the true freshman. And man, the Sooners move up and down the field at ease.
It's because all elements of this offense fit together, Steve. The run game fits with the pass game. You're going to see hard play action away, and that affects the linebackers. And you insert Andrews and Calcaterra. Calcaterra is basically a tight end, but you insert those guys in the seam while you're affecting the underneath coverage with that play action, and it's impossible to stop.
8 possessions, 7 ending in touchdowns. Even the 1 field goal was a 51-yard field goal. I mean, it's an amazing day, and there's more to come for Baker Mayfield at 4th-ranked Oklahoma.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Chevy, the only brand to earn J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs 2 years in a row. And Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Among the seniors, DJ Ward. He's fast-forwarding into the real world. He just got engaged. The senior from Moore, Oklahoma, and I don't think you see the back of her jersey. I think it said girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
We got to update that. Somebody get her a fiance jersey.
Congratulations, DJ. Yes. Nicely done.
You know, one of these days, someone's going to say no in that spot. One of these days, that's going to happen.
Hopefully, we don't have a microphone when that happens.
Not that I wish that on anybody. That would make SportsCenter's not top 10 plays.
You had one job.
Oklahoma and TCU, they're going to get together next week in Arlington, Texas, the Big 12 championship game. They met in the regular season November 11th. Rodney Anderson, 290 yards from scrimmage and 4 more touchdowns like he has today. Fifth-ranked Sooners top number 6 TCU 38-20. Baker Mayfield threw for 333 yards and 3 scores and ran for another 50 yards. And that will be a fun game to watch.
It's one of the hardest things to do in sports is beat a team twice in 1 year, right? And so that's the challenge for Oklahoma. You know Gary Patterson, how good of a defensive coach he is, and he'll have time to watch that film, grade it with his guys on defense, and come up with a plan for Oklahoma's offense and Baker Mayfield. I expect Kenny Hill to play a better game as well. He didn't play very well in the first time.
I think one of the things is going to be watch out for Anderson catching the ball. Did you see that catch he had against TCU?
Yeah.
He had about over 100 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. That, to me, showed the versatility and his potential.
Second down and 1. On the ground to Crawford. I think they're going to give it to him. The 1 yard where they spot it, and that'll move the chain. Speaking of TCU and Gary Patterson, congratulations. Got a 2-year contract extension. And in this time of craziness with the coaching circles, people being fired instantly, speculation about firings, some based on today's game even. I mean, it's the coaching carousel in college football is nuts.
So that was a preemptive move there by TCU. Everybody starts to talk about Gary Patterson and the different jobs that come open, specifically in the SEC, whether it's Tennessee or others. And nice job of them by locking him up for another couple of years.
On first down, it's Kennedy McCoy. Let's talk about Gus Malzahn.
Well, that's just great. I mean, that's a product of the fan base and the expectations at Auburn that you have to win every single year. And he hasn't done well the last 2 years. And then every time they lose a big game, everybody's saying, well, that we need to get somebody else in here. So finally, he says, well, wait a minute. If you guys don't want to, wed me long term, then I'm going to go somewhere else where they do appreciate it.
And it sounds like they appreciate him in Arkansas is what it sounds like. And they've got some money to spend. Here's Kennedy McCoy again, the ball carrier. Take some people on. Kenneth Murray among them. We got a shot at Dana Holgorsen for the first time in the sideline in the Sands headset, which is kind of an odd sight. Not attached at all in any way.
It's not been the kind of year that Dana Holgorsen was looking for, but he's made some changes. He turned over play calling duty to Jake Spavital. I thought it was the right decision as we started this year with Dana Holgorsen. He's taken more interest in special teams and managing the game. He's too good of a coach not to get this West Virginia team back where they want to be next year.
Out of the Wildcat, what else? Kennedy McCoy. He rumbles down. Motley grabbed him, or else he would have gone the distance.
This offense for West Virginia kind of reminds me of Baylor a year ago. Remember, they had all of the injuries, and there was nobody left to play quarterback, and they just had to bring in a receiver and run the Wildcat. They almost beat Texas doing that, and that's kind of where West Virginia is offensively with the injuries at quarterback.
Kennedy McCoy has been the offense, 126 rushing yards on 15 carries. Back to Crawford. Going to bring up a second down. Is that interesting to you? Does that mean anything to see Dana without the headset on the sideline?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're down 52-17, and he realizes it's not about strategy right now. It's about how do I keep my team? How do I keep them from doing anything they'll regret here in the second half? And how do I build for the future? They're going to have some time to practice for a bowl game, and you want to make sure that he's continuing to build the psyche of this program.
Took the play clock all the way down, and here's Crawford inside the 15 now. Holgorsen was rather public this week, saying, hey, the offense is in a bad place, and I've got to fix it. And he's really tried to stay away and delegate, be more of a CEO this year. Interesting public comments, I thought, this week.
Yeah, and I think it's been kind of a combination with Jake Spavital. Jake Spavital is an excellent football coach, and he wasn't brought here just to be the yes guy to Dana Holgorsen, right? If Dana knew the only way he was going to get Spavital to come to West Virginia was to give him full control of calling the plays, and there is no question who's in charge of calling these plays, and it's Spavital.
Spavital's in his second stint at West Virginia. He's coached Davis Webb and Cal. Johnny Manziel was there for him at A&M, and in his first stint in Morgantown, he had Geno Smith as his quarterback. Martell Pettaway was the ball carry, got his first touch, and they go right back to Pettaway on 2nd down and 6, bring up a 3rd down and shoot.
Not only Geno Smith, but he was also one that recruited and coached Kyler Murray his first year at Texas A&M and Kyler Murray now at Oklahoma on the other side of the field. So one of the better coordinators and quarterback coaches in college football, in my opinion.
West Virginia's goal, we saw them in the opener, all along was, hey, let's play a 13th game. They were obviously hoping it was a conference championship game, but it will be their bowl game, will be their 13th game. Here in trouble in game number 12 on the season. Here's McCoy out of that Wildcat. He's got the first down. He's down to the 4-yard line. Emmanuel Beal made the stop.
Well, they're not going to win this game, but they might have found something with McCoy here in this Wildcat formation. You see 13 plays, 113 yards. It's been very effective. It's been their most effective offense today, and no matter what happens the rest of this season, I think you're going to see that true sophomore Kennedy McCoy and a Wildcat package as a part of this West Virginia offense next year.
We've got 233 rushing yards here today so far. On 1st and goal, here's McCoy. Back to the line of scrimmage. Again, it's Emmanuel Beal. You know, and some of those rushing numbers have to be taken with some perspective. Like you said, Justin Crawford a year ago had 331 rushing yards against Oklahoma, and the Sooners blew the Mountaineers out of the stadium in Morgantown. So some of this is just padding statistics in a 52-17 game with 4 minutes to play. There's the 12th play of the drive upcoming. It's McCoy all day long, and no signal yet.
Well, I thought he got in. Great effort by McCoy.
He did.
Yeah,
you were right. Touchdown, West Virginia. It's Kennedy McCoy.
Watched at the end here. There's no give up in number 4. Pushing that leg drive. McKivitz coming off. Josh Sills, a left guard.
You got to see the look that Chugunov gives the official running in from the sideline. Like, can we get some kind of signal? Which is how I was feeling for a second. It is a touchdown for West Virginia. And again, it'll look better in the box score tomorrow. At 52-23. Hey kids, what's a box score? You can Google that too. Here's Chugunov, bottom of your screen. Okay, so there's touchdown.
Ruling of the field of a touchdown
Watch this,
is under further review.
Hey buddy. Little help? Little help? That's Frank LeBlanc. They're going to review to see if, in fact, it was a touchdown. These officials, by the way, we're having a good time at their expense. They have an impossible job at real speed. Very, very difficult. And they get it right almost every single time.
Well, it's hard to, you know, sometimes there's headlines when you're down here and you can't see through all these bodies. I mean, look at that. You got 3 defensive linemen in there, a leg, a foot, a thigh.
Sounds like you're turkey for a second. A leg, a thigh.
What do you think?
An arm, a chicken wing. All right, it's turkey. All right, raise your hand if you had a turkey sandwich at halftime of this game, America. I'm looking at you. Hundreds of thousands of people all raising their hand at one time.
After review, the ruling on the field of touchdown stands as called.
"12 plays, 75 yards, a drive that took 6:39 off the clock. They did not put the football in the air one time."
Yeah, a lot of wildcat. That's a drive that West Virginia, they'll look back at this game, and that's something they can build on, right? I know it's a little consolation, but don't lose sight of the physical nature of this game. Their offensive line, Kennedy McCoy running tough, no quit.
There's Staley on for the extra point. Boots it through. 52-24, 3.5 to play in the third. Have to wonder if Baker Mayfield's afternoon is done or not.
View, multi-view. So UNC, NC State, that game is on ESPNU. It's currently the Tar Heels down against the Wolfpack, and Iowa State and K-State, that game is on ESPN2. Cyclones have a 5-point lead, 2:11 to go. Back to Steve Levy and Brian Gracie and Topic Show.
Adnan continues to navigate the college football landscape throughout the afternoon and into the early evening. Marcellus Sutton on the return. Out to the 40-yard line. Take a look at our Buick Drive recap. Really just about every single drive resulted in a touchdown for Oklahoma.
Yeah, started out the second play of the game after a Kyler Murray long run. It's been the Rodney Anderson show. 4 touchdowns on the day for him, over 115 yards on the ground. And it's been that counterplay, and this offensive line up front for Oklahoma deserves a lot of credit. They came out ready to play. Even though it was chippy in the first half, they kept their cool and they were able to establish the run game, and that's been the difference so far.
Austin Seibert is the kicker for Oklahoma. He's also their punter, and we have not seen him punt here today. 8 possessions, 7 touchdowns, 1 field goal, and this is how Oklahoma opens possession number 9 with a Trey Sermon run for first down yardage.
I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised that Baker Mayfield's still on the field, although Kyler Murray now coming on the field, and I think they just wanted to give him an ovation coming off. And how about that from Lincoln Riley? You start the game with the tough love, the discipline that Baker Mayfield needed, and you end the game with the respect and giving him that curtain call the last time he's in front of this home crowd. That's well done by Lincoln Riley.
It's a guy who's paying attention and detail-oriented as well. Here's Trey Sermon. Wow, takes a big shot. Kaiser White has not given up. White continues to bring the lumber for West Virginia.
Last time this crowd at Oklahoma will see what I believe will go down as the most beloved player in Oklahoma history. And if he's able to navigate this college football playoff in the last part of this season and bring home a championship to Norman, he will be unquestionably the most beloved in Oklahoma history.
And they've been playing football around these parts since 1895. That's a long time and a lot of players. Quick screen out to Trey Sermon from Kyler Murray. Reese Donahue made the stop for West Virginia. And quiet applause by Baker, Todd.
We're just kind of watching the last couple of days, and all these teams that are in the playoff losing or getting challenged, and I just started thinking about it. Defensively, clearly Oklahoma is getting better. They're not great, but there's probably not a better unit that will be in the college football playoff than the Baker Mayfield offense for Oklahoma. This is probably the one team I would least want to see, to face it if I was another coach in the playoff.
I think you're right, Todd. I mean, there's unquestionably no better unit. I look at Auburn defensively; they're better, but this offense explosive.
Miles teased down the sideline. Did he get there? He did. Touchdown. The players change. The results are the same. Sooners score again. Kyler Murray to Miles Tees.
don't think that this mop-up duty for Kyler Murray doesn't mean something. He came to Oklahoma much like Baker Mayfield came to Oklahoma after going one place and not working out. He knows this is the last game for Baker Mayfield. This is his show next year, and he wants to stake claim to this the keys of this Oklahoma offense, and by all accounts, be in good hands.
46-yard scoring strike, I'll say. The pass was a bit low. Teams did a good job to bring it up. What a day for Oklahoma. Want to see a relationship between quarterback and head coach?
Does that look like Favre, or does that look like Favre?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing. Is this thing on? Testing 1 2 3. I mean, they're gonna. Hey, they're having a good time now. They're gonna have a good time tonight here in Norman.
He's like Shannon Sharp. Remember calling the National Guard because we are killing the Patriots.
Yeah. And look, you can't say they're running up the score or rubbing it in. It's their backup players now. And it's 59-24. Here's Adnan Verk testing. Is this thing on, Adnan?
I hear you loud and clear, Leaves. Alabama and Auburn is the Iron Bowl. Jarrett Stidham, how about this run on 2nd and 6? Absolutely fearless. 16-yard touchdown. He gets in. Auburn's up 26-14. However, Kerryon Johnson did lead the game of his own will, but it did not look good. Updating on that. Leaves?
Adnan, thank you.
Oh, that would be a huge blow to Auburn. They seems like they're going to potentially win that game, but they go to the next game against Georgia without Kerryon Johnson, who's such a big part of their offense.
And Cam Martin, their other running back, just got injured too.
Imagine that if you can hang on and win that game and lose 2 key players like that.
Already playing without Cameron Petway too, right? That would be 3 of their top running backs. As you look at this top 10, obviously Miami goes down. Clemson's tonight, question mark on that. Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma should have been higher from the very start of this whole thing 2 weeks ago, ahead of Clemson and ahead of Miami. I think there's a potential for them to go up. Auburn should go up. Where does Alabama fall to if they do lose? And then Ohio State got by Michigan. So
this thing's going to get dicey.
A lot of movement.
Capital One college football rankings. Really, it all goes back to October 7th, right here. A 3rd-string quarterback in Iowa State came to town. It seems hard to believe, right? But these are college players and college kids. And every once in a while, you're going to not play up to expectations. Yeah. And that's what we love about the game, the lack of predictability. But that one loss, otherwise they might very well be the #1 team in the country. They've got it all clicking right now as we hit the final, come up on the final half minute of quarter number 3. Mike Stoops said, you know, our defense is playing better, and he gets defense. It's an easy target, the defense at Oklahoma. You're in the Big 12, right? The offense is always putting up big numbers. So when people look to take shots at Oklahoma, it's an easy target to point to the defense, which, you know, he's, according to him, playing much better.
I believe that. They gave up 20 points to TCU. TCU's a good offense. This is a good offense. I know it doesn't have Will Greer, but they've played well tonight. I think the defense in the Big 12, they get a bad rap. I mean, there's some great quarterbacks in this conference. I think the defenses in the Pac-12, for instance, are worse than the ones in the Big 12. But all they got to do is, 30 points a game, because your offense is scoring 45 a game. To me, that's going to be good enough at the college football playoff level.
3 quarters complete from Norman. Oklahoma leads West Virginia 59-24. With producer Josh Hoffman and director Mike Schwab, Levy, Greasy, and McShay from Norman, Oklahoma. As we wish you all a happy Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy those leftovers. Welcome you to quarter number 4 with Oklahoma out on top 59-24. And the Mountaineers trying to make it a little more respectable. Kennedy McCoy could not run underneath that one. In West Virginia for the 3rd quarter, they ran 22 plays, 21 of them on the ground, and just 1 pass play. As you look at Chris Chugunov, who is replacing Will Greer, the star quarterback for the Mountaineers, who was injured last week and hopes to return for their bowl game. Well, that'll be very close. The timetable, the date of the bowl, that could be very close again. Greer hoping to throw in the next week or two.
Yeah, they had to insert a pin and a screw in his hand. Part of his finger on his throwing hand is that middle finger. And judging from the way I threw the ball, your middle finger is obviously the longest finger, and it's the last finger that leaves the ball. So it's very difficult to throw if you don't have great feeling in that. So that'll be a stretch for him, but maybe he can get back for that bowl game.
See the 34 touchdowns, second most passing touchdowns in the country, and they do throw the ball. Grease, how many 1,000-yard receivers do you think there are in the entire SEC? In the whole conference, if you had to guess. This is fascinating. Here's Chugunov throwing for one of his many talented receivers like Karan White. There's actually one 1,000-yard receiver in the SEC. It's A.J. Brown of Ole Miss, but West Virginia has a chance, depending on that, to have 3 1,000-yard receivers.
Yeah, they came in.
One team, and the whole SEC has one as a conference. And when you consider Justin Crawford went over 1,000 yards rushing here today, the last team in the FBS to have 3 1,000-yard receivers and 1 1,000-yard running back, Tulsa in 2007.
Was that the Aflac trivia question?
No, that wasn't. I believe that's coming, courtesy of legendary statistician Martin J. Aronoff.
Who were the only 2 head coaches to win a national championship in their first season? And a hint for my sidekicks in the booth, the 2 schools both have the same first 2 letters in their name.
Our Aflac trivia question.
Big help.
Now we're sidekicks.
Courtesy of Marty. I hope that hint helped you out a lot.
I know I have one of them because I have direct knowledge.
I watched you look at the answers today.
No, I saw the answers this earlier, but I did know one of them.
Go after him, McShay.
I'll tell you why in a minute.
Now we'll get you that answer shortly. 59-24, Oklahoma. And the Sooners look for some more with Kyler Murray at quarterback.
So in 1998, we go to the Rose Bowl, and it was 50-year anniversary of the national championship team at Michigan, of the 1948 Michigan team that went undefeated, and they told us the story of their first-year head coach, Benny Oosterbaum.
Not familiar with Benny's work.
Yeah, I didn't know. So I didn't know that was one of them, Marty. I don't know the other one. That's up to McShay.
2nd and 9. We'll get that answer. America patiently waits. The Aflac trivia question. We asked who are the only 2 head coaches to win a national championship in their first season.
Don't make me a liar.
No, you got the first one right. You got Benny, 1940 at Michigan, and Larry Coker, Miami, 2001. So, Marty, the clue was the first 2 letters of the school.
Miami.
M-I.
Michigan.
M-I, right. Okay, got it. That was quite help.
I love that question. I love that.
I thought it was going to be like Northwestern with N-W, not the first 2 letters, but.
How about Marty, the improvement from week 1 to week 2 when he was a star in week 1? Voice inflection and everything.
Well, thank you.
And the quarterback will keep it, Kyler Murray.
Marty, I love how you tie it to Lincoln Riley, right? The first-year head coach with a team that looks like, by all accounts, can compete for a national championship.
They're playing as well now, I think, as any team. You know, some people thought I worked that 1925 game with when Benny Oosterbaum was an All-American, played against Red Grange, but I wasn't quite there.
Benny Oosterbaum. It's O-O-S-T-E-R-B-A-A-N. Don't cheat him out of that second A. Marty Aronoff, you can tune in weekly to get his Aflac trivia question and answer. West Virginia will get the foot back. Sills on the receiving end there. See how much closer the Mountaineers can make this game.
Oklahoma's offense is probably the best unit in college football coming into this playoff run. And I would say that to potentially Auburn's defense might be a close second. It'd be a great matchup, those two going together.
Loss of 7 on that last play. Flip it back to Chugginoff. The quarterback to throw down the sideline for Sills. And they'll call it a catch. Said he was inbounds. David Sills.
Sills is a great story, isn't he? The early commit to SC and
early
13 years old.
Seventh grade.
But you know, it was funny talking with Dana Holgorsen. He said he had everything you wanted in a quarterback: the leadership, the toughness, the smarts. He just couldn't throw the ball. And so he transferred. He wanted to live out his dream. Went to El Camino College, and he recruited him to come back to play wide receiver. And he's had an unbelievable season for Dana Holgorsen.
Well, I respect the way Sills went about it, and actually Coach Holgorsen did handle it perfectly as well. 2010, there he is. Got the phone call. Lane Kiffin was the coach at USC at the time. And then played quarterback, then moved to wide receiver in Morgantown. 7 catches, 131 yards. One more kick at the can to try and be a quarterback for El Camino College. And then he comes back and he leads the FBS in touchdown receptions with 18 entering the game. And Holgorsen said, look, you can't play quarterback here, but you can play wide receiver in the NFL if you come here. And these things tend to work out. Nice grab. And good play by Jennings to hang on. And there is a flag on the field. Todd, you got a thought on Sills?
I think he's playing well enough that you got to give him a shot. I mean, I don't know that he's going to be the first few rounds.
Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 55. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run, first down.
He's 6'4", he's over 200 pounds. He's done a great job of improving as a route runner, and he's really good when the ball's up in the air.
I think quarterbacks, general managers love the fact that he was a former quarterback, right? And that he knows offense, knows structures of defenses. And if you got good hands and you can think, you can play in the NFL at receiver.
Sills and Jennings are both juniors. Karan White is a senior out of that great White family that has just supplied West Virginia with talent for years. Chugginoff, throw, and end zone, tipped and knocked away. Sills and Jennings were in the neighborhood, knocked away by Robert Barnes. And there are more flags on the field.
Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 72. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And the chippiness continues, the rough stuff.
Well, that's back-to-back hands to the face on Ken Mann and now Amani Bledsoe.
We've seen Bledsoe involved.
Bledsoe locked up right here. There at the end, yeah. That's not dirty. That's just, you know, getting your hands high, and no better than that.
Martell Pettaway to the 10. It's been a wide receiver dominated offense the last 3 games for West Virginia. They've scored a total of 6 touchdowns, 3 each to Sills and 3 to White, and that's it. No touchdowns from a running back. They are so reliant on their quarterbacks and wide receivers. And that's been most of the offense in the 3 games prior to this one. They have 24 points on the scoreboard today. On the ground to Pettaway. And he'll be swung around and down to the 10-yard line.
Tackle there by Addison Gums, a true freshman for Oklahoma they're really excited about. He's not quite there physically yet, 6'2", 230 pounds, but they love the fact that he's kind of in the mold of Obu Okoronkwo. Kind of a similar size and speed and explosiveness off the edge. That's the future of Oklahoma's defense on the perimeter.
Didn't play 7 weeks in a row, and then returned to action last week, picked up a tackle. Here's 3rd and 1. On the ground, Petaway not going to get there. He is shoved back in a big way by John Michael Terry. Fourth and 1 at the 10.
If this is all the backups, reserves for Oklahoma up front going against the starters for West Virginia. If they can get a stop here, they'd be really fired up.
Holgerson's got the headset back on. Here's 4th and 1. Handed off to Kennedy McCoy. Let's see where they mark it. It'll be very close. McCoy's been their best offensive weapon all afternoon. Let's see, they might need a measurement. Still no indication. Yeah, they're going to take a look. That's on us.
We talked about the skill set of Addison Gumps and the speed, but a little light. And when you get inside here in power football and you try to blow up a power play in short yardage, he got pile drive. Got a broken stick there.
They're not cheering for the first down. They just flashed the Auburn score, the Auburn-Alabama score up on the scoreboard here.
See, these fans are smart. All those chants around and signs around the country. We want Bama. Although I don't know.
And if you want some chaos,
exactly.
We've got some college football chaos.
I don't feel like that's chaos. I think that you could see that coming. The injuries to Alabama at defense.
No, the chaos, what it means to the rest of the country.
Yeah, well, it just means that Alabama is now going to be a problem for these 2-loss conference winners.
Throw and no catch. Sills couldn't haul it in with Jordan Thomas on the coverage.
Looks like they're going to get maybe a push out. Look like a push in the back. Sills is 6'4", and when he pushed off.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 7. Penalty will be half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down. That's number 7's first unsportsmanlike of the game.
That's just standing over.
Yep.
He's had a really tough year. Let's put it that way. This is a guy 2 years ago we were talking about as potentially a first, second-round draft pick, and he's struggled the last couple of years. And now he's in with the backups late in the game. Doesn't want to be in this situation, but didn't do all the little things that he was supposed to and wound up getting benched for a freshman.
Yeah, he got hurt too, had to deal with the injury, and now he's having to fight his way back. That's what Mike Stoops told him.
Third Oklahoma penalty this possession. It's Petaway, the ball carrier.
But that's not the way to work your way back in, is to get over top of somebody and taunt him like that. Now, Sills has made some plays in this game. He's made some plays downfield on Oklahoma, so maybe it's a little bit of frustration on Jordan Thomas.
And all those penalties I mentioned on this possession, all personal fouls. Yeah, the 2 hands to the face. There's no holding penalties in the mix. And we got another flag. Let's see.
Illegal snap, offense number 79. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Matt Jones is the center. An offensive line that's allowed the fewest tackle for losses in the conference. Trying to do their best here today and inch closer to another score and to make this final score a little more respectable. Second and goal now. Chugunov is split out to the left, top of your screen. Here's McCoy. A yard or 2. The clock will wind. John Michael Terry in the middle of it all for the Oklahoma defense.
We'll talk about a full plate Thanksgiving. Kennedy McCoy has rushed 25 times in this game. I mean, he has had a heavy load with no real passing game to speak of from Chris Chugunov. It's all been on Kennedy McCoy. He's going to be sore after this one.
Has he thrown the football once from the Wildcat? I don't think he has.
No.
So, I mean, defense knows what's coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I really haven't been able to stop him. You think just to mix it up, you throw it one side of the Wildcat. Here's Chugunov throwing, and it is knocked away. Karan White had it in his hands and could not hang on. And that true freshman that has beaten out Jordan Thomas that Todd McShay was talking about, Trey Brown, makes the play.
Great play here by Trey Brown. First of all, not to get pass interference called. It's very difficult to come from behind, and he waits till the last minute. Karan White had his hands on the football, and they teach you then to play through the hands to the ball. That was well done by Brown.
Mentioned the White family, and so many of the Whites, 3 of them at least, have gone through West Virginia. They've got a nephew who's in high school, and he might be on the way. Talented family.
Timeout, Oklahoma. Their first of the half. It'll be a media break.
And we are members of the media. We'll take it with them.
ESPN College Football is presented by PlayStation Vue. Watch the biggest moments in sports. Try it free today. And in part by Jiffy Lube, proudly pouring Pennzoil Synthetics.
Happy to welcome back our long-lost friend, the Big 12 championship game. Last time they played it was 2010 in Arlington. Nebraska's last game of the Big 12 before departing for the Big 10. Landry Jones threw for 342. The Sooner defense sacked Husker quarterback Taylor Martinez 7 times. Sooners came back from 17-0 deficit to defeat Nebraska 23-20. And they'll play the Big 12 championship game next week, Oklahoma against TCU. 4th and goal from out at the 8. Chugunov the throw off his back foot, looking for Sills, overthrows him, and they will turn it. Oh, wait a second, there's a flag. Chance Sylvie was on the coverage, and Lincoln Riley saying that's uncatchable.
I think he's got a point. That ball went out of bounds.
The universal sign for uncatchable.
Pass interference, defense number 28. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line, automatic first down.
4th penalty on the Sooners on this drive.
Take a look. Is Sills able to catch that football? There's no chance. I think it's a ticky-tack call, even if it was close. It's a bad call,
Yep.
Silver.
I think he's got an argument. I think he's got a case. Let's settle out of court. On another wild college football Saturday. It's pretty wild college football Friday, too.
It's the definition of college football. Yeah. It's wild.
Saw number 2 go down in Miami yesterday. And number 1 Alabama today. Here's 1st and goal. Gonna throw for it, back in the end zone. No. Trevon Wesco caught it, but he was clearly out of the back of the end zone. 2nd and goal.
We've seen 2 nice plays from true freshman Trey Brown. This time he reacts. Got fooled with the fake, and number 6 here sees coming back. Don't ever give up on the play. If he doesn't come back and push the tight end out of the end zone, that would have been a touchdown. Those are going to be 2 plays that Mike Stoops, the defensive coordinator, gives a little bit of praise to the true freshman, and probably why he's seeing more snaps.
Bring up the 14th play on this drive. On the ground. Head away. Touchdown is the signal. And the score. Something for those that made the trip from Morgantown to cheer about. Take a look from the progressive pylon cam.
starting offensive line for West Virginia still in the game, going against some of the backups for Oklahoma, and finally pushed through with Petaway.
72-yard drive. Takes 6 minutes, 17 seconds off the clock. Petaway cashes in. Extra point is through. So it'll be look a lot more respectable when they talk about this game in the rivalry next year. 59-31. We have a 4-possession game here with just over 6 minutes left. I anticipate a closer affair tonight. Coming up right here on ESPN, 3rd-ranked Clemson and number 24 South Carolina. And then following the game, stick around for SportsCenter at night. All our experts will weigh in on the impact of the Iron Bowl and the college football playoff race. The latest on Kevin Sumlin's future. A whole lot of coaching news. Chip Kelly named the next head coach at UCLA. And did Baker Mayfield seal the Heisman? SportsCenter with Linda Cohn and Kenny Mayne. All streaming live on the ESPN app. Set for an update in this 4-score game. Here's Adnan Virk.
All right, thank you, Steve Levy. Iron Bowl in the books, and how about it? Alabama 24-game win streak against SEC opponents comes to an end as Auburn now has a 93% chance to reach the playoff with a win if they beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, as Jarrett Stidham goes 21 of 28 for 237. He was terrific. Coming up next, well, hey, Bama went down, Miami went down. Maybe Clemson's the best team in the country. Kelly Bryant and company facing South Carolina. It's next, Steve. Back to you.
I think we're going to vote for Oklahoma.
Yeah, even Adnan's throwing a little shade on Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's the best team in the country. Of course, from our perspective, we're in the building still, and it's 59-31, and it's not nearly that close. Do not be fooled by the score. With 6 minutes left, Kyler Murray started the game at quarterback, and he will finish it. Abdul Adams is the ball carrier down the sideline, and we'll see if they get a bit of a face mask there, as Kenny Robinson was able to run him down. Big gain, though, on the play.
Boy, Abdul Adams, he was the man early in the season for Oklahoma, and he's kind of become the 3rd guy behind Rodney Anderson and Trey Sermon, but he wants people to remember, and he's got some talent, too. Talented, deep stable of tailbacks for Oklahoma, and almost amazed at the fact that they lose Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon, and they come back with this 3-headed monster.
39 yards on the carry for Abdul Adams. At the 36, and let's see.
Timeout, Oklahoma. It'll be a media break.
Oklahoma takes a timeout for some reason. They're leading by 28 with 5.5 to play. Back in Norman. Baker Mayfield for Heisman. What do you think?
Is that the Baker Mayfield Halloween costume? Right?
Looks just like him.
I think he's got a shot. I don't know.
A shot. But it did seem like the gap was close, right? Middle of the season, so many more competitors.
Oh, yeah, with Saquon Barkley.
So tight. Bryce Love and all this talk. It really seems like there's a much bigger gap right now with Baker Mayfield well ahead of the field.
Yeah, I think Bryce Love has still got a shot. He deserves to be in New York. I think the guy that needs to be on this list is Kerryon Johnson.
Lamar Jackson has sort of crept back into the race as well.
Lamar Jackson has very similar numbers to what he had a year ago. So, of course, he should be on that list. And
some of it has to do with the competition. And Mayfield's having an epic season.
Yeah, it's his to run away.
It's his.
Yeah.
You just wanted to stop him there, put a period on his sentence?
Done.
On 2nd down and 7. On the ground to Adams. Out to the 30.
I mentioned earlier that he might be the only guy that has finished in the top 4. I was incorrect. There's actually been 4 others. Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside with the Army cadets in the 40s.
Who was inside?
Glenn Davis, get it right.
All right, thanks.
And then Doak Walker and Herschel Walker. But that's an esteemed list to add Baker Mayfield's name. Quite a legacy.
3 finishes in the top 4. They all won it. They all won the Heisman at one point in their careers. And so Baker would be up for it for a third time, having yet to win it. Maybe this is his year. Might be his year, might be the Sooners' year. Their first down of the clock will continue as we get under 4 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. Ben's been pushing this number on me. Last time number 1 and number 2 lost in the same week this late in the season. You have to go back to 2007. These West Virginia Mountaineers, they lost to Pitt.
Yeah. And
Missouri fell to Oklahoma. Sam Bradford at quarterback. So doesn't happen that often, but a lost weekend for the top 2 teams, and be interested to see what the shakeup is. Tuesday night becomes really must-see television now. You're dying to see how they seed out the top 4 teams. Could Oklahoma go from 4 to 1?
Absolutely. I've had Oklahoma at the top.
Here's Murray with speed.
They should be number 1. I mean, they have done everything they could do, and they've done it in impressive fashion. And I don't think there's any question. I look at the other teams. Clemson, obviously, is the other team that has the right to that number 1 spot, but Clemson has not looked good in some of their wins. This is a more impressive team. We've done 2 Clemson games this year. We did Clemson against Auburn, and then we did them a couple of weeks ago. This team and Baker Mayfield is the big reason why I would have them number 1.
Dropping Miami right out?
Yeah, Miami's out of the top 4.
Out of your 4. It's Abdul Adams, the ball carrier. Brian and Todd have weighed in on their new top 4. And Grease has Oklahoma at 1. McShay has them at 2.
Well, these are where we think that it's going to wind up in the end, right?
As of now, taking into account these results.
Well,
I might have the wrong assignment then.
That's what I said last week.
I'm looking forward, and I'm thinking if Clemson goes and beats a team in Miami, it's probably going to be in the top 6. That they'll wind up at 1, and Oklahoma at 2.
I know this, that
yes, tell me.
Auburn, while it was a great win today, they have some issues at running back. If Kerryon Johnson didn't look like he was going to be able to come back anytime soon, and Cam Martin goes out with an ankle, already missing Cam Petway, that might be an issue against Georgia.
Grease, that knocks. Georgia wins that SEC championship. It knocks out Auburn because they have 3 losses.
Yep.
And you can't put Bama in over Auburn with the 1 loss because they just lost to him. So that then opens things up for some other conferences, a team like Ohio State, if they are able to beat Wisconsin.
Or bring back the West Coast.
Oh, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's definitely in it.
Notre Dame, if SC, Georgia being in, right? You wouldn't have been able to put Notre Dame in if Georgia was sitting there at 5 because of what Georgia did to Notre Dame. So it helps Notre Dame as well.
3rd and 2. Looking to crack 60. All sorts of time for Murray. Back of the end zone and a flag. 2 flags. Kaiser White on the coverage. I'll say this about White. He has played hard.
Yep.
Kaiser White plays hard from start to finish. Actually, 3 markers down.
Holding defense, number 8. We also have ineligible downfield, number 55 of the offense. Those penalties offset. Will replay 3rd down.
They did a fascinating exercise on game day today. They did blind resumes for all the guys. And one of the 2 losses, best strength of schedule, best strength of record, non-conference champion. And 3 of the 4 guys picked them to go into the playoff, and they revealed that was Notre Dame. And that was kind of interesting. If you don't see the brand name on top.
Well, I know this. Notre Dame had 2 anchors that were above them. That was Miami and Georgia, right? 2 teams that they lost to. So if Miami beats Clemson in the ACC championship, a lot of people think they're automatically. I don't. I don't think they're automatically, and they may end up at 5. And if that be the case, you can't put Notre Dame in over Miami because of what happened there.
Correct.
So
that was a blowout city, South Beach, yeah. It is fascinating, and it's amazing that so much still can happen with really 1 week left, right, in the conference championship games next week.
No doubt here, though.
Kyler Murray and Oklahoma, they'll say uncle. They'll take a knee. 59-31 will be your final score. 4th-ranked Oklahoma makes a case to be the #1 team in the country.
And with all of the upset and turmoil that we've seen, you know, higher-ranked teams that fall to lower opponents and distractions and all kinds of things. Everything was set up here this week for Oklahoma to be distracted. With a team coming in with a backup quarterback, and they did not allow it to creep into their psyche. They handled their leader in Baker Mayfield the right way. Lincoln Riley led the right way. Kyler Murray stepped in and played excellent when they needed him, and this defense got better. And this is as impressive a performance as you could have had this week, given all the circumstances.
That was one of the interesting things coming in. How long before Baker Mayfield would enter the game? It turned out being just 2 offensive snaps. That's all he missed, because Oklahoma had a 70-yard touchdown drive to start the game. And then he was in, and then he was out when the game was out of doubt. Baker Mayfield, a brilliant performance today. Only put the ball in the air 17 times, completing 14 passes. He hit on his first 8, good for 281 yards, 3 touchdowns, and did not throw an interception. And the respect and the handshakes for Baker Mayfield that he was not able to receive at the start of the game for the coin flip by not being one of the captains for today's game.
And maybe one of the most impressive things he did today was not throwing the football or running it, but the way that he changed his behavior, his actions, his leadership in a game that was chippy, that is normally what the kind of game that he likes to be in, likes to talk and likes to be animated. He was reserved, he led, and it was impressive.
Speaking of the man, here he is with our Todd McShay.
Baker, you went through so much this week, obviously. How good was it to just get on the field?
Oh, unbelievable. You know, it's one thing, you know, to be on the outside looking in. You know, I had the support of all these fans here and all my teammates and coaches. I mean, unbelievable. And they got me through the week, and then getting out here, like you said, it just helped.
It was chippy early on, a lot of pushing and shoving. You were kind of in a different role of getting everyone to be the peacekeeper, if you will. You think this is part of maybe kind of learning from mistakes?
It is, but also we knew exactly what was going to happen playing West Virginia. It's always chippy with them. I mean, you look at the past couple of years, there's been stuff before the game during warm-ups. And we knew that. It's just the fact that we had one case where we didn't, you know, keep our cool and be the better person. But, yeah, for me, it's about learning and growing. And, you know, I'm a 22-year-old kid, and if I learn along the way and people get to watch me grow, I'm fine with that.
And moving forward, now you get the Big 12 championship. First time in years you go play in that game. What are your thoughts on playing TCU again?
It's a great challenge. You know, obviously Coach Patterson always has them ready to go, and always playing somebody twice is hard. And, you know, it being that, you know, that close together, it'll be a good challenge for us, but that's what we wanted.
Thanks, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Oklahoma could not clinch anything today, but they certainly are much closer to that coveted college football playoff spot and a Heisman Trophy for Baker Mayfield. It's all Sooners on senior night. Oklahoma beats West Virginia to the tune of 59-31. That's it from Norman. Back to the studio in Adnan.